Sakshi?
Yes, preparing to live stream. Give me 10 seconds. Yes, we are live.
Your video, Manish.
Yes. Good morning, all participants and respected members. Today is the 6th day of our litigation marathon that Views Exchange Study Circle is organizing. Today's topic is on ITC, and we have a renowned speaker, C.A. Achal Kapoor, to deliberate on the topic. Before proceeding further, I will request C.A. Nitesh Moore, the president of our Views Exchange Study Circle CPE, who has taken so much pain and so much effort to organize this marathon study circle, to speak his opening remarks on and will take the webinar forward. C.A. Nitesh Moore, sir, thank you for organizing and doing everything. I request you to kindly deliver your opening remarks, sir.
Very good morning, everyone. In the Sunday morning, we also have so many participants joining in, and as part of our women initiative today, we have speaker as well as chairman of both are women. So Sakshi, she is practicing in GST and is in ENY, and Achal Kapoor is one of the best women speaker in India as far as GST is concerned. So welcome both of you and all the participants. I am very sure that this today's session will enrich you with so vast knowledge and experience as far as GST litigation course is concerned. Your queries will be addressed at the end of the session. Probably she will answer will decide how to take the queries. Whether you will be taking after the session, maybe 15-20 minutes we can allot, or uh, the way you want. So with this, thank you everyone. Our team of the association, Views Exchange Association, is working very hard for this GST litigation course. Naveen, Manish, and so many others. So thank you everyone. With this request to take the session forward.
Thank you, Nitesh, sir, for your kind words. Uh, it is now my privilege to introduce to this August House the chair of the session. C.A. Sakshi Jhajaria is a practicing chartered accountant into the field of indirect taxation advisory and litigation. She is a frequent paper presenter at various national as well as international conferences organized by ICAI on various topics related to GST. She has represented ICAI at the 33rd International CA Students Conference in Sri Lanka. She posts regularly informative content on GST, and her LinkedIn and other social media profile platform has a follower base of around 30,000 followers. Warm welcome, CA Sakshi Jhajaria ji, and we are privileged to have you as the chair for this session. I will now request.
Thank you so much.
I will now request CA Naveen Singhal ji to introduce to this August House our speaker, learned CA Achal Kapoor. Naveen ji.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Manish. I would like to share ma'am's profile with all of us. I have heard ma'am earlier also, and I can vouch safely that she is the best speaker in India. Also, I would like to show ma'am's wall of fame to all of us. She has several accolades and awards to her name. Let's catch a sight of ma'am in action. CA Achal Kapoor has made exemplary contribution to the profession and industry as national speaker on GST. She is a renowned faculty at NSEIN, NASIN. At one point of time, she has addressed an august a gathering of 2200 plus participants. Ma'am has several awards and accolades to her name. She was awarded as by AIFTP as Best Upcoming Speaker in 21-22. Ma'am is the coordinator of All India Federation of Tax Professional. She has made exemplary contribution to the profession. She has several All India ranks, awarded Best Paper on Mathematics award by ICAI, third merit ranking in BCom third year, second merit ranking in BCom second year. She is the gold medalist, rank holder at various levels of CA, as is evident. She has delivered hundreds of seminars and has also been a part of several budget discussions held at the branches of ICAI. Ma'am's contribution to the industry is priceless. Let's have a glimpse of print media coverages. It's excellent. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your contribution to the industry and our profession. With these words, I would like to welcome you.
Thank you so much, Naveenji, for the introduction. And I'm so thankful to Views Exchange for giving me this opportunity to be the part of this series. And Nitesh More, sir, thank you so much. And I'm deliberating in the presence of such elite members, such knowledgeable persons. It's pleasure to have you, Sakshi ji, in my session. And yes, definitely the learned audience who have connected with us on this Sunday morning. So that just shows your appetite for the knowledge, and we all will be sharing that together. So as Nitesh More sir mentioned that how we will be taking up the queries and all, I want all to write with me in the chat box. So whatever is the issue related to the topic, chat box is open for you all. So let's make this session interactive rather than this black box approach. Why we should feel we are interacting with this laptop lying in front of me rather than the beautiful names appearing on my screen. I won't say faces because I won't be able to see the pictures all the time. So chat box is open. So where is my chat box in this? Here. I have opened my chat box. I can see Sumit Kumar Mukherjee's message on my screen, and yes, he has mentioned about the Guru Nanak Purav also, which is tomorrow, and lots of wishes to all of you for the same. So now let's begin the session, and ITC, the very very hot topic, and I call this topic as heart and soul of GST. So with this, can I see all of you with the thumbs up in the chat box? Can we begin with this session? Are you all ready? Oh, great. Gaurav ji, I can see your name. Rajesh ji, Yogesh ji. So good to see all your names on my screen. So friends, if I talk about ITC, right. So good to see such interactive audience. So we are going to enjoy the session definitely today. All right, friends, when I talk about ITC, as I mentioned, it is the heart and soul of GST. This was the very purpose for which GST came into being. I hope you all agree with me, right? आया तो GST इसके लिए था, but somewhere it has become like a slime that keeps slipping from our hands. वो बच्चे slime खेलते हैं ना, जितना मर्जी पकड़ने की कोशिश कर दे, it keeps slipping from the hands. So likewise, ITC has become like a slime. The more and the more provisions which are being put in there in GST are just taking away the ITC from our hands. Right, Uttamji, JPG? So, friends, GST आने का very purpose was ITC, and now the most of the notices that are coming in with regard to ITC, आपका 3B, आपका 2A, आपका 2B match नहीं करता है. That is one of the criteria we are getting the notices. So in this session, my dear friends, I will be taking up the issues, the provisions relating to GST ITC litigation. उसके litigation के साथ साथ I will also be taking up that how we should reply the notice practices, and I will show you some specimen also. I know we all are chartered, or the persons who are well equipped with the legal terminologies. So I will be taking you through in a practical approach that the law which we are reading, हमें उसको apply कैसे करना है while giving the reply for the same. So should we begin? Let me share the screen first with all of you. And if you see the name of the topic today, I have kept the first PPT name as Vibrant Curves and Moves of GST, because it is so vibrant that you never know when I was to deliver the seminar and when I actually interact with you, the law can change. Right now, let me open the chat box again so that I can interact. Yes. So friends, talking about GST, first of all, a few changes that have come in recent time. DRC 01B, DRC 01C, DRC 01D, lots of changes, lots of form जो है वो introduce किए गए हैं in the GST regime. So सबसे पहले two most important things. Firstly, for the year 17, 18, 18, 19, the criteria is going to be different when you are going to reply the ITC notices. Post that, when GSTR 2B was made mandatory from the January 2022, the provisions are going to be different. So we must need to check कि कौन से period का reply हम furnish करने जा रहे हैं, उस पे कौन से provisions लगते हैं, कौन से act के provisions prevalent थे और कौन से rules के provisions prevalent थे. So सबसे पहले अगर मैं बात करूं, two most important things. First, 3B and GSTR1 should match. Your GSTR1 and 3B should match. Secondly, your GSTR2B and your GSTR3B input should match. So the recent changes the government has brought in GST is, first, if your 3B and GSTR1 are not matching, if your 3B and GSTR1 are not matching, your number can be suspended. And secondly, if your GSTR2B ITC and GSTR3B ITC are not matching, your number can be suspended. Or friends, अच्छा एक बात बताइए, suspension में, and I want all of you to write in the chat box, may it be yes or no. If I say you, your number can be suspended, will you be given the opportunity first or will there be suspension first? Quickly in the chat box, please. Opportunity first or suspension first? Opportunity first. Okay, so Vishalji has mentioned opportunity first. Suspension first. Opportunity first. Okay, so we are getting the mixed reviews. Friends, in case of suspension, Rule 21A becomes applicable. And here, Kamalji, Uttamji, as what you said, no opportunity first. No opportunity first. Right, Sumit? It is first your number. No SCN even, Sumit. It is your number will first be suspended, and then you will be intimated ki, look, we have suspended your number because there was a mismatch between so and so. If you have any explanation to that effect, you can come and give the justification for the same. Sir, cancellation में भी point है, but cancellation में पहले opportunity है and then cancellation takes place. Whereas in case of suspension, पहले suspension होता है and then they say you that if you have any justification for the same, then you can come and give the justification. If the officer feels satisfied, then your number will be opened, and if not, then the further proceedings will be taken care. In cancellation, SCN suspension automatically. Absolutely, Sumiji. And now you think, Sumiji has gone to buy a GAN t-shirt or a GAN shirt, and the store is not able to make the billing because when your number is suspended, you cannot even issue a bill. He cannot issue the bill even. Reason being, he says, my GST number is suspended. And by chance, if the CA is out of town, he has gone to Sumit has gone for a trip outside. So 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, he is not available. The number will remain suspended because he won't be able to revert to the department. Think of the practical difficulties that will be coming your way in the ways the provisions of GST are getting drafted. लाइकवाइज अगर आपके 3B और 1 में मिसमैच होगा, सो ऐसे अब देखो गवर्नमेंट इज ब्रिंगिंग ऑल द सीक्वेंशियल चेंजेस. कैसे? सबसे पहले सर ये चेंजेस आए क्यों? द बेसिक पर्पस फॉर ऑल दीज चेंजेस वाज द फेक इनवॉइसिंग दैट हैज बीन फाउंड इन द नेशन, अक्रॉस द नेशन. अब जब ये फेक इनवॉइसिंग मिले, इन ऑर्डर टू कर्ब दैट फेक इनवॉइसिंग, गवर्नमेंट इज ब्रिंगिंग द चेंजेस. बट हम ये नहीं देख रहे हैं दैट द जेन्युइन टैक्स पेयर इज वेरी मच द सफरर ऑफ सच चेंजेस दैट आर बीइंग ब्रॉट इन. हाउ कम? लेट्स हैव अ लुक. अब जो पर्सन फेक इनवॉइसिंग करते थे या करते हैं, हाउ दे यूज्ड टू डू, वो जीएसटीआर 1 फाइल नहीं करते. जीएसटीआर 1 फाइल कर देते थे, जीएसटीआर 3 भी फाइल नहीं करते थे. गवर्नमेंट सिक्वेंशियल फाइलिंग ले आए. कैसे? कि अगर आप जीएसटीआर 1 फाइल नहीं करेंगे तो 3 भी फाइल नहीं होगी, 3 भी फाइल नहीं होगी तो 1 नहीं होगी, एक पीरियड की 1 नहीं होगी तो सब्सिक्वेंट पीरियड की भी 1 और 3 भी आप नहीं कर सकते हैं. First, a person he is all more clever. They said, okay, अगर हम GSTR 3B फाइल नहीं करेंगे तो हम 1 फाइल नहीं कर सकते. They started filing GSTR 3B with a tax amount of merely 500 rupees और GSTR 1 जा रही थी with 1 lakh of rupees. अब GSTR 1 में taxes 1 lakh, GSTR 3B में taxes 500 rupees. Government wanted to curtail it. And what they did, they said कि अब अगर आपकी 3B से ज्यादा टैक्स GSTR 1 में होगा, means your tax in GSTR 1 is greater than the tax in GSTR 3B, then GSTR 1 tax will be taken as your self assessment tax. इसका मतलब अब मेरा सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स कितना बन गया? क्विकली, हाँ, both GST are on, but no underlying. Sumit ji, that has also been the cases. That are also been the cases. You are talking about just bill trading, what we call as fake invoicing is of different types. Sir, fake invoicing वाले क्या करते हैं? नीचे जो ITC फर्स्ट क्लेम किया जाता है वो आपका एडमिसिबल ITC नहीं होता, फेक ITC होता है. Then they go on circular trading that, or else this has also been found that the 3B has been filed with the lower amounts, or 2A में credit reflection के लिए GSTR 1 has been filed with the higher amounts. अब वो GSTR 1 जो हायर अमाउंट से फाइल होती थी 1 लाख रुपीस को आपका सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स बना दिया गया. यानी अब आपका सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स कितना हो गया? 1 लाख रुपीस. एंड यू नो व्हाट आर द repercussions? Section 75 subsection 12 will come into picture. Section 75 will come into picture जो कहता है self assessment tax की recovery can be made without issuing any notices. Absolutely, Yogesh ji. Direct recovery. Direct recovery. एंड जब ये आया डायरेक्ट रिकवरी, वो भी कैसे? सीधा सेक्शन 79 के प्रोविजंस. नाउ लेट मी फर्स्ट टेक अप दिस इशू बिकॉज आई एम डिस्कसिंग फर्स्ट द न्यू फॉर्म्स DRC 01B एंड DRC 01C. फ्रेंड्स, रूल 88C गवर्नमेंट ने क्यों इंट्रोड्यूस किया? सबसे पहले उन्होंने कहा अगर आपके GSTR 1 में टैक्स का अमाउंट ज्यादा होगा, GSTR 1 में tax amount is 1 lakh, GSTR 3B is filed only with 500 rupees, then your GSTR 1 tax will be considered as self-assessment tax. Applying the provisions of section 75, इस self-assessment tax का recovery directly किया जा सकता है क्योंकि ये तो आपका self-assessment tax है. No opportunity for the same is required. So as per section 75, we can directly recover 1 lakh from you. There are certain high court judgments like LC Infra, Mahadev Construction, where it has been held कि आप इसका recovery भी directly जो है, you should provide an opportunity to the person, keeping section 75 on side, that opportunity must be provided to the person. But leaving behind the judicial part, the judiciary part, if I talk about now, the government introduced Rule 88C, जहां opportunity तो दी लेकिन सिर्फ 7 डेज का टाइम पीरियड दिया. 7 डेज का टाइम पीरियड. हाँ, सेक्शन 75 सबसेक्शन 12 ने कहा डिपार्टमेंट तुम डायरेक्ट रिकवरी कर सकते हो, बट उससे पहले एक आरटीपी को एक चांस दिया जाएगा, उसको DRC 01B फॉर्म पोर्टल पे आएगा, पार्ट ए से सिस्टम जनरेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन आएगी, ऑन द ईमेल आएगी, एंड आरटीपी सपोज टू रिप्लाई द DRC 01B. व्हाट दिस DRC 01B विल बी ऑल अबाउट कि लिसन टैक्स पेयर, तुम्हारा टैक्स इन GSTR 1 is greater than GSTR 3B by a specified percentage, क्योंकि तुम्हारा ये टैक्स एक्सीड कर रहा है. एज अ रिजल्ट यू आर लाइबल फॉर सेक्शन 79 रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स. आपको हम एक अपॉर्चुनिटी दे रहे हैं, DRC 01B फॉर्म इंटीमेट करेगा, आपको उसका रिवर्ट करना है विद इन 7 days. नाउ सी, everywhere in the law the time provided even for reply of show cause notice etc is 30 days, but here only a 7 days window has been provided to the RTP 7 दिन के अंदर आओ, part B of DRC 01B on the common portal, you have to reply, you have to either pay or furnish the same in part B, or to reply electronically in the part B of DRC 01B form. अगर आपने ना तो पे किया और आपने जो रिप्लाई दिया, इफ दैट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेबल बाय द प्रॉपर ऑफिसर, इन दैट केस डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स अंडर सेक्शन 79 स्टार्ट हो जाएंगी. फ्रेंड्स, व्हाई आई एम डिस्कसिंग 01B फॉर्म विद यू, because I want to make a contrast between the provisions of 01B and 01C. दो फॉर्म्स हैं. 01B फॉर्म है GSTR 1 और 3B का डिफरेंस, इसकी वजह से भी नंबर सस्पेंड होता है और कैंसल होता है. सेकेंड फॉर्म DRC 01C जो कहता है अगर ITC 3B में GSTR 2B से ज्यादा होगा तो even then the number can be suspended. Now they can directly start the recovery proceedings under section 79. Now my question to you is, can you file an appeal against it? Can you file an appeal against it? Sir, no, only DRC 01B. Absolutely Prateek ji, अपील फाइल होती है ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट, ऑर्डर के अगेंस्ट. हियर डायरेक्टली द रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स अंडर सेक्शन 79 विल बी टेकन अप. आपको एक नोटिस, आई विल नॉट कॉल इट इवन अ नोटिस, इट इज नॉट अ नोटिस, इंटीमेशन आई DRC 01B फॉर्म में, आपने उस इंटीमेशन का रिवर्ट किया, ऑफिसर सेटिस्फाई नहीं हुआ, एंड हाउ द बैकिंग हैज बीन टेकन, बैकिंग हैज बीन टेकन फ्रॉम सेक्शन 75 सबसेक्शन 12 ऑफ CGST एक्ट, जिसने कहा था अब सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स है हम उसकी रिकवरी कर सकते हैं विदाउट गिविंग यू शो कॉज नोटिस. एंड इवन जो अब आपका GSTR 1 में 1 लाख टैक्स आ रहा है, दैट हैज बीन मेड अ सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स, डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग. सो नाउ इमेजिन अगर 7 days में रिप्लाई नहीं जाता है, such errors can be, such differences can be merely due to certain errors. कोई फिगर गलत डल गई, कोई जीरो एक्स्ट्रा डल गया, कोई बिल गलत रिपोर्ट हो गया, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स अंडर सेक्शन 79 विल बी टेकन बैक्ड बाय द लीगल प्रोविजन ऑफ सेक्शन 75. और सर साथ ही साथ रूल 59 में भी चेंज कर दिया कि अगर आपको इंटीमेशन अंडर रूल 88C इशू किया गया है, you won't be able to furnish GSTR. अब आपको लिंकेज समझ आया? अगर आपको लिंकेज, अब आपको लिंकेज समझ आया? लिंकेज क्या है? GS सीक्वेंशियल फाइलिंग ले आए, GSTR 1 के टैक्स को सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स बना दिया. अगर आप GSTR 1 एक पीरियड की फर्निश नहीं करोगे तो आप सब्सिक्वेंट पीरियड की GSTR 1 फर्निश नहीं कर सकते. अगर आपने ये फर्निश नहीं की तो आप 3B भी फर्निश नहीं कर सकते. सो in totality they have brought it that your GSTR 1 and 3B should be matched, and it has been made a time sensitive matter that within a limited window of 7 days you have to reconcile the difference and take a call whether to pay or explain. और सर साथ ही साथ your e-way bill in rule 138 will also stand blocked. You won't be able to generate the e-way bill. So if I talk about this rule, और सर अभी तक हमें ये प्रोविजन प्रोवाइड नहीं किया गया कि जीएसटीआर 3B में आप नेगेटिव लायबिलिटी दिखा सकते हो। जीएसटीआर 3B में आप नेगेटिव लायबिलिटी दिखा सकते हो। नो, without implementing the negative figures that are allowed in the output side of the liability, they are invoking the provisions of Rule 88C DRC 01B. और सर जहां negative figures होंगी in the subsequent period, it is bound that your differences in GSTR 1 and 3B will arise. So government must consider it कि जब तक वो क्यों सर, फर्स्ट पीरियड जिसमें आपकी नेगेटिव फिगर है, आपकी 3B जाएगी जीरो अमाउंट से और आपकी 1 जाएगी नेगेटिव फिगर से, क्योंकि उसमें तो आप क्रेडिट नोट डाल देंगे। जब आप सब्सिक्वेंट पीरियड में उस नेगेटिव फिगर को एडजस्ट करेंगे तो आपका 3B लोअर हो जाएगा और आपका GSTR 1 हायर हो जाएगा, क्योंकि आप पिछले क्रेडिट नोट सब्सिक्वेंट मंथ की 3B में एडजस्ट करेंगे। Your 1 will be of a higher amount and your 3B will go with a lower amount. As a result, government must consider that the Rule 88C should not be made effective until or unless the negative output liability in 3B is allowed. So how government did it? As I already mentioned, sequential filing of returns. 3910 में they brought the change. File GSTR 1, then 3B can be filed by the Finance Act 2022 with effect from 1/10/2022. 59(6) में लिख दिया pay taxes, otherwise GSTR 1 cannot be filed. Rule 21 में ले आए कि अगर आप एक पीरियड की फाइल नहीं करेंगे तो आपका नंबर, if no consecutive filing, तो नंबर कैंसिल कर दिया जाएगा. So all such changes and self-assessment tax बना दिया when your GSTR 1 tax is greater than 3B, और Rule 21A में cancellation भी डाल. I hope you are finding that there has been so many consequences that if your DRC 01B remains unpaid, it can lead to lots of operational difficulties. Now GSTR 1 block हो जाएगी, opportunity of hard नहीं है. Now if I talk about sir, is there any problem? Do I need to rejoin or there is any fraction of gap?
Yes ma'am, आपका ना बीच बीच में ना वीडियो स्टक हो जा रहा है for some
Otherwise, the signals are my end is okay for us. But Manish Tripathi ji has written video and audio is okay for him.
it is okay, but होता नहीं है बीच में एक बार बस एक वर्ड आपका मिस हो गया वैसा.
Okay. Should I rejoin?
Yes ma'am, if you can please.
Just 1 second. I rejoin. Wait.
When she comes, immediately make her the co-host.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Ma'am has joined. Manish, you please make her the co-host immediately. And put
Not able to see her.
put spotlight on me.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, is it fine now?
Yes, ma'am. You can
Yes,
share.
ma'am. Can you share your screen once again, ma'am?
I'm sharing, sir. I'm sharing. Give me a while. I hope you can see the screen now.
Yes, we can, ma'am.
And there is no lag now.
It does not appear to be, madam.
All right. Okay, so sorry for the technical glitch, but on my side the signals are proper. I still don't know what's the reason. Anyhow, okay, let's come back. So friends, we were talking about 3B and GSTR1. So जो rule 88C introduce हुआ है, there first it is actually a draconian procedure. Reason? For rule 88C, there is no particular section except that it takes the power from section 75 subsection 12. अभी तक हमें ये नहीं पता कि DRC 01B नोटिस है. नो, इट जस्ट इज एन इंटीमेशन. कोई ऑर्डर नहीं है, कोई रेमेडी अवेलेबल नहीं है एक्सेप्ट द रिट रेमेडी, एंड डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स अंडर सेक्शन 79 विल बी टेकन. देयर इज नो अपील रेमेडी विल बी अवेलेबल बिकॉज there is no order as such against which the appeal can be filed. So imagine the repercussions of the same. The cases which I talked about, Mahadev Construction and LC Infra, both the cases have been given in the PPT itself. Now friends, अब हम आते हैं जैसे DRC 01B इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ. अब गवर्नमेंट ने कहा ये तो आउटपुट साइड की बात हो गई. क्या अगर आपका 3B और 1 मिसमैच करेगा, sir, I've come to section 78 provision also that talks about that for the recovery so and so you can resort to section 78, but itself directly 88C rule में कोई ऑर्डर अपना पास नहीं होता है. डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स अंडर सेक्शन 79 होती है, और सुमित जी ये पावर लेता है सेक्शन 75 सब सेक्शन 12 से. राइट, सो इसमें कोई ऑर्डर का रेफरेंस नहीं है जिसके अगेंस्ट हम अपील में जा सकते हैं और डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स जो है वो स्टार्ट हो जाए. नाउ अब उन्होंने कहा जैसे आपका आउटपुट का डिफरेंस 3B और 1 में था, लाइकवाइज अगर आपके 3B और GSTR 2B में डिफरेंस हुआ, इन दैट केस RTP रजिस्टर्ड टैक्सेबल पर्सन, तुम्हें फिर से एक नोटिस आएगा विच विल बी इन द फॉर्म DRC 01C which will appear in the portal. Intimation of such difference will be issued in part A form DRC 01C to the registered taxable person on the through the email as well as on the portal. For example, अगर आपका 3B जो है that has been with 5 lakh, whereas 2B is with 4 lakhs, there is so and so difference. DRC 01C will be issued and you are supposed to reply in the part B of DRC 01C. Sir, again 7 days time in rule 88D also. 88D में बोला 7 दिन के अंदर या उसको एक्सप्लेन कर दो, उसका रिप्लाई दे दो या डिफरेंस पे कर दो. नाउ सी द डिफरेंस. सुमित जी उसमें क्योंकि सेक्शन 75 सबसेक्शन 12 में लिखा था कि सेल्फ असेसमेंट टैक्स डायरेक्टली रिकवर किया जा सकता है विदाउट गिविंग एनी नोटिस. सो दैट इज वाई जो रूल 88C था उसमें इनिशिएशन होता था रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग्स का डायरेक्टली अंडर सेक्शन 79. लेकिन इनपुट के लिए कोई सेक्शन 75 सबसेक्शन 12 में प्रोविजन नहीं है. एज अ रिजल्ट अगर आपके 2B और 3B में ITC का डिफरेंस होगा एंड यू हैव नॉट पेड दैट डिफरेंस और एल्स आपने उसका रिप्लाई फर्निश नहीं किया within 7 days, या जो रिप्लाई फर्निश किया, ऑफिसर इज नॉट सेटिस्फाइड विद दैट रिप्लाई, अमाउंट लायबल टू बी डिमांडेड एज पर सेक्शन 73-74. उसमें क्या था? डायरेक्टली रिकवरी प्रोसीडिंग. एब्सोल्युटली योगेश जी, यहां क्या है? आपको 73 और 74 का SCN आएगा. और सर a long proper the things about this have been given by the department. I just share with you, if you can see my screen, proper If there is a, see, you can see on my screen, liability mismatch, both the forms DRC 01B and DRC 01C will appear on your, in your return compliance, on your return dashboard. And when you go for it, you are supposed these will appear, and you can select that return period. You can check that what are your compliances that are pending with respect to DRC 01B and DRC 01C, the status of the same, and the proper advisory has been issued by the government that how you are supposed to revert on the same. कैसे आपके GSTR 2 के डिफरेंसेस और 3B के डिफरेंसेस इनपुट क्रेडिट अवेलेबल आएगा. आप DRC 01C on the portal check कर सकते हो, and then you have to explain the reasons कि why this there have been the reasons, and you are supposed to reply in part B of DRC 01C. So this is the entire document that has been issued. Yes, Sumiji, lighter in the sense that there are direct recovery proceedings owing to section 75. Here you have to go through the section 73. आपको उसमें show cause आएगा. ITC mismatches को आप उसमें revert कर सकते हैं. Right? So now if I want to say, अगर please be careful when you are filing your GST returns, please adhere to GSTR 2B कि आप जो input tax credit ले रहे हैं वो 2B के according होना चाहिए. But again, the period of 7 days that has been given is very short period for reverting on the same. Now, if I move further, sir, ITC, the very purpose, simplify कर दो indirect tax को, harmonize कर दो. पहले हम credit नहीं ले पाते थे, being chartered accountant हम goods का credit नहीं ले पा रहे हैं. So अब एक ऐसा system आएगा जिसमें value addition जो भी होगा goods और services का, वो सब harmonize होगा. Seamless transfer of input tax credit. What are the words? And you know what is it? It is none other than the object clause of the very GST. If you see, this is the object and reason statement that why the GST came into being. But let me tell you, itne provisions, so many things that I was falling short to put the colors in the slide. Section 16, whether you have complied with the same. 16 subsection 4, yes, I will be taking, and how we should reply to 16 subsection 4 notices also. 36.4 in the previous 2019 onwards. 2A, 2B. In first years we had 2A, then we had 2B. Section 17.5 comply हुआ कि नहीं, credits block कर दिए. सर एक बार तो हम input tax credit मिलाते रहे in the ledger, and the reason was it was not matching with the books because officer has blocked it in 86A. Then of course 86B. 86B अगर आप follow नहीं कर रहे हैं, wherever applicable to your client, the number can even be cancelled. Or sir, ab to, after the budget, they have made 86B as a primary condition with section 16 read with section 38. Make sure that 86B rule is complied with. 42-43 के reversals किए कि नहीं. ITC rate notifications के through restrict किया जा रहा है जैसे restaurant. अच्छा, let me ask you all a question. My party has a restaurant, right? Can he exercise one of the options, 5% without ITC, 18% with ITC? Yes or no? Is both he can opt for any option, 5% with ITC or 18% without ITC? Quickly, Sumit ji saying no, Imtiaz ji saying yes. Okay, anybody else? Friends, yes. For hoteliers, Manoj ji, hoteliers not at all. Please let me, those who have given the answer in yes, friends, firstly, I'm talking about the restaurant. Hotel have not any such option. Secondly, 5% without ITC is a mandatory rate for the restaurants which are not in the specified premises. राजेश जी, स्पेसिफाइड प्रीमाइसेस क्या है? जिस होटल का रूम 7500 से ऊपर जिसका डिक्लेयर्ड टैरिफ है, अगर आपका रेस्टोरेंट ऐसे प्रीमाइसेस में लोकेटेड है जहां पे डिक्लेयर्ड टैरिफ 7500 से ज्यादा है, उस होटल पे रेट है 18% विद आईटीसी. एंड इफ उस रेस्टोरेंट पे रेट है 18% विद आईटीसी. अगर आपका रेस्टोरेंट ऐसी जगह पर नहीं है, नॉर्मल रेस्टोरेंट है या ऐसे होटल का पार्ट है, लोकेटेड है जहां पे डिक्लेयर्ड विवेक जी, आई एम अगेन एंड अगेन mentioning declared tariff is 7500 above. In that case आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है, आपको मैंडेटरी 5% विदाउट आईटीसी ही फॉलो करना है. And why I mentioned it, this is an ITC restriction which is through the rate notification. तब मैंने कहा रेस्टोरेंट वाले तुम तो बिल फाड़ देते हो क्योंकि तुम्हारे कस्टमर ज्यादातर B2C होते हैं. प्लीज चेक द एनोलॉजी कि क्यों आया वो प्रोविजन. आप तो रेट खत्म कर देते हैं, बिल खत्म हो जाते हैं. उन्होंने कहा नो, कोई आईटीसी नहीं, कुछ नहीं, सिंपल 5% दीजिए, that's it. And it is mandatory provision that has been ITC restriction that has been put through the rate notification itself. Right? So those who answered yes, let me tell you there is no option available. So अब देखो हमारा फ्री फ्लो ऑफ क्रेडिट तो कैसे कैसे रिस्ट्रिक्ट हो गया, सर्कुलर 183 आ गया एंड सो मेनी थिंग्स. नाउ फ्रेंड्स, लेट मी कम टू द पॉइंट्स. जो नोटिसेस आ रहे हैं, जो नोटिसेस 17, 18, 18, 19 के लिए आ रहे हैं, जब तो रूल 36 सब रूल 4 भी नहीं था, मींस बिफोर अक्टूबर 2019 के पीरियड के लिए आ रहे हैं. इन दैट केस आपके ऊपर 2A में अपीयरेंस इज नॉट मैंडेटरी. आपको कोई ऐसा ना रूल था ना एक्ट था जिसमें ये प्रोविजन लगता था. एंड फ्रेंड्स, अभी आई विल टेल यू हाउ वी विल पुट इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ द रिप्लाई ऑल्सो. नो, देयर वॉज नो नीदर एनी एक्ट नॉर एनी रूल प्रोविजन. तो आपका 2A में अपीयरेंस मैंडेटरी नहीं था. हाउएवर, गवर्नमेंट ने एक सर्कुलर दिया 183, पहले दिया उसी पीरियड के लिए 17, 18 एंड 18, 19. और अगर वो सर्कुलर आपके लिए बेनिफिशियल है और आप उसको एडहेयर कर पा रहे हैं, क्योंकि सर्कुलर 183 भी एक हाफ बेक्ड केक है, कुछ केसेस में तो सुटेबल है बट नॉट इन ऑल द सिचुएशन. सो अगर तो सर्कुलर 183 का बेनिफिट ले पा रहे हैं, आप अपने ऑफिसर को रिप्लाई दीजिए ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सर्कुलर 183, इट विल बी एक्सेप्टेबल. बट इन केस अगर आपके ऊपर सर्कुलर 183 को भी आप कंप्लाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, then you need to give the legal reply for the same कि appearance in 2A was not mandatory for the period 17, 18 and 18, 19, क्योंकि ना तो कोई एक्ट था ना कोई रूल्स थे. फर्स्ट, सर्कुलर 183 है क्या? गवर्नमेंट ने कहा सर्कुलर 183 में हम आपको बेनिफिट देते हैं 4 केसेस में. Abhi, then I will put all these provisions simultaneously and I will show you the specimen of the reply also. आपको नोटिस आया, आपका 2A और आपका 3B, आपने 3B में जो ITC लिया है वो आपके 2A से ज्यादा है. आपने चेक किया वो ज्यादा है, ओके. पहले तो जरूर फिगर्स चेक कर लीजिएगा क्योंकि 2A इज अ डायनेमिक डॉक्यूमेंट जो लेटर ऑन अपडेट हो सकता है. सो जब भी फ्रेंड्स आप रिप्लाई करते हैं ना, always divide your facts into 2 parts, facts of the case and the legal provisions. पहले तो चेक कर लीजिए 2A का फिगर करेक्ट है और there is any difference. In many of the cases तो कभी कभी नोटिस आता है 70 लाख का और वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है 30 लाख पे एंड सो ऑन, क्योंकि 2A का फिगर चेंज हो गया होता है और जो नोटिस में फिगर होता है वो मैच नहीं करता है. नाउ अब जब आपने उसको फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस के अकॉर्डिंग देखा, ओके, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस. Now check whether circular 183 case, your case is fitting in circular 183. कैसे? सर्कुलर 183 उन्हीं केसेस में बेनिफिट देता है जहां सामने वाले ने 3B भरी हो. It means the other person has paid the taxes, लेकिन वो आपके जीएसटीआर 2A में इसलिए नहीं आ रहा है क्योंकि कुछ ना कुछ एरर कर दिया गया है. कैसा एरर? भाई लोग 3 भी तो फाइल करी है, बट 1 फाइल नहीं करी उसने. Tax has already gone to the pocket of the government, but he has not filed his GSTR 1. Circular 183 benefit देगा. 3B भरी है. Now you see in all the 4 cases 3B has already been filed. लेकिन 1 भी फाइल करी, उसमें गलती से मेरा सप्लायर रिपोर्ट करना रह गया. ओके. थर्ड केस करा, B2B को B2C रिपोर्ट कर दिया, सप्लाई भी रिपोर्ट करी, एवरीथिंग, बट GSTR B2B has been given as B2C report. Even in this case 3B 1 both have been filed. Fourth case, अब फाइल भी करी, इनवॉइस भी शो करा, बट गलती से रिसिपिएंट गलत डाल दिया, wrong GSTN of the recipient. In all these 4 cases, tax has already gone to the government. Government says कि अगर आपका ये डिफरेंस है तो आप हमें एक सर्टिफिकेट ले दीजिए. किससे? अगर तो ये 5 लाख से कम की लायबिलिटी है, 5 लाख, then limit is per supplier per year. 5 lakh से कम है और up to 5 lakhs है, then certificate from the concerned supplier. If it is greater than 5 lakh rupees, then certificate from the CA or CM. आप सर्टिफिकेट दे दीजिए. ऑल्दो सर क्यों नहीं हो रहा? इसलिए नहीं हो रहा क्योंकि अब GSTR 1 में वो करेक्शन नहीं कर सकता है. Where would you cover the case of GSTR filed beyond September? सर 2 मिनट के लिए विवेक जी होल्ड करती हूँ उसको. 16.4 पे जब आऊंगी तो आपके क्वेश्चन को जरूर टेकअप करूंगी. नाउ यू जस्ट बी विद मी. GSTR filed. Now, sir, even if your GSTR filed beyond September, वैसे तो 16.4 का इशू है, but यहाँ पे भी a little touch I will give here. Now, let me complete this first. In all the 4 cases, आप अपने सप्लायर से सर्टिफिकेट ले सकते हैं या CA और CMS से ले सकते हैं. ऑल्दो 2A में अपीयर नहीं हो रहा है, बट अगर आप इसको कंप्लाई कर पाएंगे तो ऑफिसर विल गिव यू द बेनिफिट ऑफ द ITC. और अगर आपने किसी गलत रिसिपिएंट का नंबर डाल दिया है, गलत पर्सन का नंबर डाल दिया है, देन डिपार्टमेंट, तुम मेरा ITC नहीं रोक सकते हो, लेकिन जिस पर्सन का गलत डाला है प्लीज डू चेक कि उसने ITC अवेल नहीं किया हो, एंड प्लीज मेक इट इज एन इंडिपेंडेंट एक्शन. अगर उसने लिया है या नहीं लिया है, दे कैन नॉट डिनाई योर ITC. सो अगर तो आपका केस फॉल करता है थ्रू दिस 183 सर्कुलर, ओके है, देन इट्स फाइन. एल्स, और सर इस सर्कुलर को उन्होंने फर्दर ईयर्स पर भी एक्सटेंड किया. नाउ किन केसेस में ये यूजफुल नहीं है? ये नहीं यूजफुल है. फर्स्ट, सप्लायर ही नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट हो गया. सर किससे सर्टिफिकेट लोगे? एंड मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द केसेस आर वेयर द सप्लायर हैज बिकम नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट. Where the supplier has become non-existent. पहले उन्होंने ये 17, 18, 18, 19 पे दिया, फिर अदर इयर्स पे एक्सटेंड किया, right? It means your ITC has been directly made applicable, is being allowed on the compliance level of another person. Sir, फिर आया सर्कुलर 193. इस बेनिफिट को फर्दर इयर्स के लिए एक्सटेंड किया गया, बट सी द एक्सटेंशन एंड द बेनिफिट गिवन 1/1/2022 से आपका 2B एप्लीकेबल हो गया था, नोटिफाइड हो गया था. सो कहते हैं 1/1/2022 के बाद तो कोई ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. उस टाइम तो ये आपको 2B में आएगा तो इनपुट मिलेगा, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट बी अलाउड द इनपुट. बट उससे पहले वाले पीरियड में याद है रूल 36(4) आ गया था अक्टूबर 2019 से. जब रूल 36(4) आ गया था, पहले 20%, फिर 10%, फिर 5% हम आपको दे देंगे जितना 2A में आ रहा था. दैट्स इट. बस उसी 20%, 10%, 5% उसके लिए ही आप सर्टिफिकेट का बेनिफिट ले सकते हो। मीनिंग देयर बाय अगर 5 लाख का आईटीसी लिया है, 3 lakh is appearing in 2A, merely 60,000, 30,000 and 15,000 benefit is available. Over and above that, ITC will not be granted even on the basis of Circular 183, read with Circular 193. If your case is falling under any of these, you can go for the same. If not, then we have to go for the legal compliance. And what are those legal compliances? Let's have a look. First, sir, my first argument, सबसे पहले आईटीसी में नोटिसेस आते क्या है? सामने वाले ने टैक्स पे नहीं किया, the other person has not paid the taxes, section 16(2)(c का compliance नहीं हुआ. Second, आपके 2A और 2B में 2A first I am taking, appearance नहीं हो रहा. Third, 36(4) जो 16(2)(a) में अमेंडमेंट की गई है. So we will check all these cases first. Friends, जहां आपको नोटिसेस आ रहे हैं, the other person has not remitted the taxes, so आपको वो इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट रिवर्स करना होगा. Section, my first argument, of course, section 16(2) talks about actually paid, and it has turned out to be a nightmare provision. क्यों? मुझे सेलर पे कोई कंट्रोल दिया नहीं गया. सर, जो मैकेनिज्म था, एक पर्सन 1 भरेगा, दूसरा देन 1A होगा, देन 2 होगा, देन 2A होगा, आप उस 1B होगा, आप उसको रिवर्ट कर पाएंगे कि भाई तुम्हारा बिल नहीं आ रहा है. यू हैड द राइट टू अमेंड, मॉडिफाई, डिलीट द बिल्स. दैट 2A communication तो has never come into picture. And that section 42, the matching concept, has never come into picture. Purchaser, you are left without any legal authority, to ensure the compliance by the seller. But you have to say कि भाई आपको इनपुट टैक्स तब तक नहीं मिलेगा जब तक सामने वाले में 16(2)(c) में उसको नहीं भरा होगा. Here, the legal maxim, lex non coget ed impossibilia. The law is compelling a man to do the impossible, or especially when the person has acted bona fide. Buyer, you have been given the duty. Sir, सामने वाले को GST नंबर किसने दिया? डिपार्टमेंट ने दिया. वो किसको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है? डिपार्टमेंट को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है. मैंने बीइंग अ परचेजर, मैंने उसे टैक्स दे दिया. मुझे एनफोर्समेंट मशीनरी नहीं मिली कि मैं उसकी GSTR 1 को चेक कर सकूं, चेंज कर सकूं, मॉडिफाई कर सकूं. बट स्टिल माय एक्शन, my ITC is dependent upon the compliance level of the seller. Pre-GST regime में भी इस issue पर we had a number of judgments. May you talk about the Arise India by Delhi High Court, KK Industries by Honorable Apex Court of Country, Gherumal Balchan, Altaf Shoes, Infinity Wholesale. In sub में they have held the maxim lex non coget impossibilia. You cannot ask the person to do the impossible. सर, ये तो बात थी प्री GST regime judgment, and we have got the judgment also in Jhunjhunwala case where it has been held because where the provisions are perimeteria. So the pre GST regime के judgments है that will be applicable in the current regime also. Current regime also. Now, अब तो ये बात थी previous judgments की. Even in the periods of in the judgments post GST, we have got a number of judgments that, especially friends, if your ITC is getting rejected on the basis of retrospective cancellations of the registrations by the supplier, and the courts have come to the rescue, and the lead is being taken by the High Court of Calcutta. Many of these judgments mostly have come from the High Court of Calcutta. The first in the row is cargo traders. और सर यही हमारे बेस है रिप्लाई का. अभी I will show you one specimen copy. पहली बात, you cannot ask me to do the impossible when I cannot control the actions of another person. Cargo trader says, अगर कोई collusion नहीं है between the petitioner and the supplier, you cannot reject the ITC of that person because the other person registration has been cancelled and that has been cancelled with the retrospective effect. जब मैंने उसके साथ ट्रांजैक्शन किया था तो उसका ITC एलिजिबल था क्योंकि वो पर्सन ने उसका नंबर जो था वो रनिंग था, एक्टिव था, वो कैंसिल नहीं हुआ था. Then next in the row is LGW Industries. और if I talk about LGW Industries के case में supplier became non-existent. The bank accounts was fake. But you see, LGW Industries said, wait, I have made entire payments through the banking channels. मैंने पूरा FI किया है, मेरे पास सप्लायर की डिटेल्स है, उसका एड्रेस अवेलेबल है, उसके प्रेमाइसेस पे उसका नंबर वर्किंग था, उसका जीएसटी जो रजिस्ट्रेशन है वो बाद में कैंसिल हुआ है, जबकि ऑल द नेसेसरी द प्रिकॉशंस हैव ऑलरेडी बीन टेकन. Cancellation has been made on a later date with the retrospective effect, and when the transaction was entered, there was no issue in the same. Due diligence have been exercised to verify the genuineness and identity of the supplier. The court held, अगर there has been no collusion और ये एक bona fide transaction था और ये 2A में भी appear हो रहा है, you cannot deny the ITC to the petitioner LGW Industries. आप LGW को ITC deny नहीं कर सकते हैं provided the transactions. Wait. One second. Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible. Very much visible, yes.
Okay. It has stopped coming on my. One second. Let me.
That LGW Industries case law page is open, right?
It is not appearing here. One second. Okay. Yeah. So if the ITC cannot be denied, if it has.
Are all the participants able to listen to ma'am? Ma'am, the connection has been lost, I think so.
Yes, the connection has been lost.
Yeah,
No.
the screen is also not visible.
Yes, I'm just calling her once. Just wait for 2 minutes. Log in कर रही है ma'am. Ma'am is trying to.
I'm there. I'm there.
Okay.
Please allow me the screen share.
Manish, please.
Done.
You can continue, ma'am.
Yeah. So friends, we were talking about LGW. So we talked about cargo traders. We talked about LGW industries. And many of you must have heard about DY Bethel. How many of you know about the case of DY Bethel? सबसे ज़्यादा widely circulated case on WhatsApp, I must say. Friends, what is the difference between LGW Industries and DY Bethel? LGW Industries ने बोला, अगर transaction genuine है, if the transaction is genuine and there is no collusion and it is supported by the valid documents, in that case आप सामने वाले से recovery नहीं कर सकते हैं. You cannot make the recovery from the purchaser, LGW Industries. His ITC will remain admissible. लेकिन DY Bethel was on the same line, but to one limited extent. DY Bethel में उन्होंने कहा purchaser कौन था? Bethel. Friends, let me tell you, GST is a weird world. Every law is like that. Like the fortune favors the brave, the law also favors the brave. अगर आप उसको डिफेंड नहीं करेंगे, सो आपको कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. And you know what is the litigation rate in our country? It is just less than 1%. Just less than 1%. Rest all wait. कब वो judgment आएगा? Like we all have been waiting for Safari Retreat judgment also. और कब हम उसको अपने केस पे एनालाइज पर एप्लीकेबल करेंगे? In this case also, DY Bethel, the purchaser, was asked to repay the ITC, reverse the ITC, which they have availed, because the seller, Charles and Shanti, have not paid the taxes. Bethel ne goods purchase kiye, payment banking channel ke through ki, everything was done, but objection was raised ki no, ITC will not be allowed to the purchaser. Here, the Madras High Court held, first, the recovery proceedings, and you know what objection Bethel raised? They said they have not gone against Charles and Shanti. The seller has not been issued any notice. There is no action being initiated against the seller. Directly, they have come to the recovery for the purchaser. Honorable High Court held that first, the seller should be the person who has supplied the goods, ought to have been examined, confronted first, and then the Bethel should be asked to repay the ITC in case the Charles and Shanti se recovery nahi ho pati. So how we can see this? And sir, this view is not only substantiated by DY Bethel. Even the government in its own press release dated 4/5/2018 has mentioned no automatic reversal of credit. The recovery should first be tried to be credit from the seller rather than the buyer. The buyer shall be an option with the revenue authorities only in the exceptional situation. But यहाँ तो सब कुछ उल्टा है. Even in the previous period, what they are doing कि भाई जो अगर सामने वाले ने टैक्स पे नहीं किया, and all these cases come to our rescue when we give the replies for the same. Now, even if I talk about, you know what is happening in GST, पाप करे कोई और सजा मिले किसी और. The innocent is being punished for the sins of the others. Now, friends, if I talk about this provision, up to sir और भी 16(2)(c को करंट regime में और भी power और भी provisions उसमें implement किए गए. We have come up with Rule 37A. Now 16(2)(c is linked with Rule 37A और बहुत सारे लोगों ने इसकी advisory अपने portal पर और emails में देखी है. How many of you have got the intimation as to Rule 37A में इतना credit ineligible है? How many of you have got that? Can I see in the chat box? अच्छा, who all knows about Rule 37A? Okay, Sumit said I have got it. Friends, ये 37A is none in my known cases. Okay, Vivek ji, let me tell you about Rule 37A. Rule 37A जो था वो 48th meeting में recommend किया गया था. It has been made applicable for the year 22-23. इसीलिए 37A के रिगार्डिंग आ रहा है. And what is that? 16(2)(c का extended arm है. Now they are saying आपको ITC रिवर्स करना होगा in the cases of non-payment of tax by the supplier. हाँ, दोबारा रीअवेल कर लेना जब सामने वाला टैक्स पे करेगा. Meaning thereby आपने एक ITC लिया अपनी 3B में by the recipient, उसने GSTR 1 भी किया है, नो प्रॉब्लम. ITC of invoice or debit note has been claimed in 3B by the recipient. He has furnished the GSTR1. It is appearing in the 2B of the recipient also. But tax has not been paid. सामने वाले ने 16(2)(c का कंप्लायंस नहीं किया. आपका 16(2)(c का कंप्लायंस नहीं हुआ क्योंकि सामने वाले ने टैक्स पे नहीं किया. Not outward supplies in Form 3B have not been furnished by the supplier. तो कब तक? 30th day of September of the following year. सप्लायर से बोलिए कि भाई साहब 30 सितंबर तक उस टैक्स को पे कर दीजिए. अगर तो उसने 30th सितंबर तक पे कर दिया सो आप आईटीसी आप तो देन इट्स ओके. नहीं किया तो आपको 30th 11 से पहले उस आईटीसी को रिवर्स करना है. और अगर आपने 30th 11 से पहले यानी 30 नवंबर, द डेट इज अप्रोचिंग, अक्टूबर वाज द रिटर्न फॉर दैट. तो अगर आपने नहीं किया तो आपको ये अमाउंट अलोंग विद इंटरेस्ट पे करना पड़ेगा. अगर उसने सब्सिक्वेंटली, लेट्स सपोज उसने सितंबर के बाद टैक्स भरा तो आपको आईटीसी दोबारा मिल जाएगा. यू कैन रीअवेल दैट आईटीसी, बट इंटरेस्ट इज गोइंग टू बी अ लॉस. So 37A is the rule which has been introduced with 16(2)(c. It gives you कि अगर सामने वाले ने टैक्स पे नहीं किया, it is applicable for 22-23. अगर सामने वाले ने टैक्स पे नहीं किया तो आप 30th September, and sir how you can check? You can check it through your GSTR2. आप GSTR2 में देखिए कि वहां पे उसका फाइलिंग स्टेटस यस है या नो है. You can even put the GST number and check it कि उसकी कौन कौन सी रिटर्न्स फाइल हुई हैं. They are also giving you the advisory in the form of Rule 37A कि आपका 37A का इस पार्टी का नॉन कंप्लायंस है. So you are supposed to reverse the ITC. You otherwise you will end up paying the interest. Sir, if you talk about complexities, yes. Sir, you cannot check the percentage. Sumit ji, I think so. What you want to ask? Sumit ji क्या पूछ रहे हैं? सर हम ये तो चेक कर सकते हैं कि उसका 3B फाइल्ड है कि नहीं. अदरवाइज आप जब 2 में देखेंगे ना तो वहां पे जो एंट्री उस पार्टी की आती है उसके आगे आता है 3B स्टेटस फाइल्ड येस और नो. दैट्स इट. बट आप ये देखेंगे कि 3B में टैक्स कितना गया है या 1 में कितना गया है. दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर यू विदाउट द लॉग इन क्रेडेंशियल्स. But yes, you can check that the 3B for that period has been filed. और otherwise 37A में they are issuing the advisory कि आपके ऊपर 37A का ये लगता है, otherwise नहीं लगता है. So what is the problem 37A में? और सब देखो जो 37A रूल, पहली बात वैसे तो हमें 16(2)(c अगर कंप्लाई नहीं हुआ हम आईटीसी के लिए एलिजिबल नहीं थे. बट दे सेड आप 30th सितंबर तक वेट करिए. अगर उसने 3B फाइल कर दी आपकी तो आपको वो आईटीसी एडमिसिबल रहेगा. और इसमें भी एक कंट्रोवर्सी है. आपके लिए वैसे आईटीसी लेने का टाइम पीरियड जो सामने वाला सप्लायर है उसको टाइम दिया गया 30/11 तक, और आपने कंप्लायंस कब तक चेक करना है? 30th सितंबर तक. यानी आपको उसे कहना पड़ेगा, यू मस्ट टॉक टू योर सप्लायर कि सप्लायर प्लीज फर्निश योर 3B बिफोर 30th सितंबर, बिफोर 30th सितंबर, सो दैट वो मेरे पास फाइलिंग स्टेटस 30th सितंबर तक आ जाए. yes, and I can continue with the ITC and I need not to reverse it. So ये तो आई 37A, द रूल विच हैज नाउ बीन इंट्रोड्यूस. बट अगर हम पुराने पीरियड की बात करें, फॉर द अर्लियर पीरियड्स देयर हैव बीन सो मेनी केस लॉज अवेलेबल विद अस जो ये कहते हैं, सर इफ ही फाइल्स बाय 31st अक्टूबर तो आपको आपने 30th सितंबर की देखा, उसका फाइलिंग स्टेटस नो था, आपको आईटीसी रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. और अगर उसने 31st अक्टूबर को कर दिया तो आप नेक्स्ट रिटर्न में उसको रीअवेल कर सकते हैं. यू कैन रीक्लेम दैट विवेक जी, यू कैन रीक्लेम दैट, राइट? ओके, नाउ इफ आई गो अबाउट 2A और 2B में रिफ्लेक्शन नहीं आ रहा, लेट मी आस्क यू वन क्वेश्चन. क्या 2A में रिफ्लेक्शन फॉर 17, 18, 18, 19 कौन सा ऐसा प्रोविजन था, विच प्रोविजन वाज देयर जो कहता था 2A में रिफ्लेक्शन जरूरी है? Just mention any one of you who can write in the chat box. कौन सा ऐसा प्रोविजन था जो कहता था 2A में रिफ्लेक्शन मैंडेटरी? None. Absolutely, Vivek ji, none. 2A was, Manoj ji, 2A आ तो रहा था, लीगल बैकिंग नहीं था. नो प्रोविजन. सो किस सेक्शन में ऑफिसर आपसे टैक्स डिमांड कर रहा है? कई बार ऑफिसर कहता है कि जो 2A है ना, वो एक एक्सटेंडेड आर्म है 16(2)C के कंप्लायंस का. योगेश जी, 16(2)C के कंप्लायंस का. लेट मी टेल यू थ्रू दिस टेबल. 16(2)C is not an extended arm of, sir, it was started, yes, in 1890. Actually, legal backing was given in October 2019. Now, if and for that period also, it was coming post that only. Right. Now, what is the issue? 2A was never the conclusive proof of payment of taxes. Sir, वो extended arm नहीं है 16(2)C का. There can be instances जहां पे person ने 16(2)C comply किया है, but 2A में appearance नहीं है. कैसे? 16(2)C में उसने taxes तो pay किए हैं, but GSTR1 file ही नहीं किया. See, supplier filed 3B, but not GSTR1. सेकेंड, सप्लायर ने 3B फाइल नहीं किया, 1 फाइल कर दिया. इस केस में क्या हुआ? 16(2)C कंप्लाई नहीं हुआ, बट अपीयरेंस हो रहा है. So you cannot say कि the appearance in 2A is a conclusive proof of payment of taxes. Sir, B2B को B2C report कर दिया. In this case, 16(2)C complied है, लेकिन 2A में reflection नहीं आ रहा. So if I say, was there any legal backing? The answer is clear cut no. Moreover, none other than the Honorable Apex Court of the country, Honorable Supreme Court, in case of Bharti Airtel, has clearly stated, sir, अच्छा एक बात बताइए, भारती एयरटेल फेवरेबल जजमेंट था या अगेंस्ट जजमेंट था? भारती एयरटेल फेवरेबल जजमेंट था या अगेंस्ट जजमेंट था? क्विकली इन द चैट बॉक्स, फेवरेबल और अगेंस्ट? अगेंस्ट. दीपक जी सेइंग फेवरेबल. ओके सर, जब भी हम कोई केस लॉ पढ़ते हैं ना, प्लीज डू चेक कि व्हाट इज द अगेंस्ट द भारती एयरटेल. ओके, कि what they are trying to say, what are the principles being put forth, what is the ratio decidendi of that judgment. Never just go by the name or the held portion of that. Right, Sumit ji? I am coming to that point. Friends, भारती एयरटेल का क्या स्टोरी था? भारती एयरटेल ने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट क्योंकि 2A में अपीयर नहीं हुआ, नहीं लिया बिकॉज 2A में वो नहीं आ रहा था. अगर मैं बात करूं इस जजमेंट की, 923 करोड़ डिमांड वाज कंफर्म्ड अगेंस्ट भारती एयरटेल बाय द ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट. Then they approached firstly to the Delhi High Court where the judgment was favorable. उसमें उन्होंने कहा पोर्टल ओपन कर दीजिए. उन्होंने कहा मैं क्यों पे करूं, ये मेरे 2A में नहीं आ रहा था इसलिए मैंने नहीं लिया. Why should I pay for that month in cash and later on accumulate my ITC? उसी मंथ का विंडो ओपन होना चाहिए. मेरे 2A में अपीयरेंस बाद में हुआ है, मैं उसी महीने में 2A का क्रेडिट अपने 3B में लूंगा. दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने फेवरेबल डिसीजन दिया और 2A और जो 3B था उसकी विंडो भारती एयरटेल के लिए खोल दी. दिस was a judgment in personam. This was a judgment in personam only for Bharti Airtel. There are certain judgment in REM which are open for all, but this was a judgment in personam. Bharti Airtel के लिए window खोल दिया गया based upon the judgment of Delhi High Court. Then the department appealed in the filed the petition with the Supreme Court, and in Supreme Court it was held. Look, Bharti Airtel, why you didn't avail the ITC? Why you kept waiting for appearance in GSTR 2A? GSTR 2A is merely a facilitator. It is your books of accounts that determine whether you are eligible to take a credit or not. Whereas this common portal is only a facilitator to retrieve the information and it is not a primary source. when Supreme Court, अब सर जो भारतीय एयरटेल पे लगा, apply it in your case. When all the conditions of Section 16 are fulfilled, non-appearance in GST or 2A or 2B is merely a compliance level, is merely a facilitation, should not be turned into a liability. It is not a primary source. जब 16(2) की सारी conditions पूरी हैं, मेरे पास टैक्स इनवॉइस भी है, actual receipt of goods or services भी है, and when all the when there is 16(2)C, सामने वाले ने टैक्स भी पे किया है, returns have duly been furnished, then non-appearance in 2A cannot be a ground for the rejection. So ये जो भारतीय एयरटेल का जजमेंट है, which is a negative judgment against judgment for the Bharti Airtel, is a judgment where a principle has been set off that common portal is merely a facilitator. अब सर likewise if we talk about e-com or coffee trading का judgment, सर है तो ये भी against judgment where the liability has been confirmed. But the e-com guild judgment, sir, ये pre-GST regime का judgment, and Honorable Supreme Court has held in it, one thing needs to be proved to avail ITC. The burden of proof, read with Section 155 of CGST, the burden of proof that actual receipt of goods or services हुआ is in on the person who is availing the ITC. और अगर आप ये proof कर देते हो कि actual receipt of goods of service हुआ है, your ITC cannot be denied merely on the ground कि 2A में उसका appearance नहीं हो रहा है. अगर आप actual receipt of goods or services proof कर देते हो, then this judgment is very favorable, which says ITC cannot merely be denied only on the grounds कि 2A में appearance नहीं हो रहा. And based upon the Ecom Guild judgment, we have got Hina Medicals also, where it has been held by the Kerala High Court that yes, where the ITC can be whether the ITC can just be denied on the ground of difference between 2A and 3B? Answer is no. Answer is no. If you prove the actual receipt of goods or services, and same do again the Calcutta High Court, Suncraft Energy Private Limited. It has been held, और इसने भी उसी प्रेस रिलीज का रेफरेंस दिया जहां पे लिखा था 2A is merely a facilitation. Non-appearance in 2A cannot be a ground for denial of input tax credit, followed by Diya agencies by Kerala High Court. Again, you cannot say the purchaser that your ITC will be denied due to the procedural lapses. Yes, I know there are certain against judgments by the Honorable Patna High Court, Astha Enterprises, and a few more we have received in the recent time also. However, when you are furnishing your replies, all these judgments come to your rescue. And friends, this is the press release dated 18th October 2018, where the government has itself said taxpayer 2A is for the taxpayer facilitation and does not impact the ability of the taxpayer to avail the ITC on the same. Now, let me show you a specimen reply also. If I talk about here, I just show you how we can put all these points in the form of the reply. Now, see, Asha, you must have faced the heat of this ये जो drive government run कि हम verification, all India drive was conducted in the month of May, June, July. It was till 16th of July कि आएंगे आप कि वहां verify करेंगे whether have you people know about the drive where the officers come visited the premises, देखा कि exist करता है नहीं, and you know what happened? अगर कोई person नहीं मिला, right सुमित जी, इम्तियाज जी, in that case अगर कोई पर्सन नहीं मिला तो सामने वाले का ITC डिनाई. सर क्या किया उन्होंने, प्रैक्टिकली बताती हूँ. They went on particular premises. The person was not found on that premises. They held that dealer to be non-existent. अब उसके जितने पर्सन्स थे जिसको उसने सप्लाई की थी और जिन्होंने आईटीसी अवेल किया था, उन सबको भी नोटिस इशू कर दिए कि योर आईटीसी, यू आर सपोज टू रिवर्स दैट आईटीसी और रीपे दैट आईटीसी बिकॉज द सप्लायर हैज फाउंड टू बी नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट. 16.4 blocks for even actual receipt of goods. Manoj ji, 16.4 पर I come in a while. Now, notice, now this is the reply. How we can go for it. This is the reply to notice intimating discrepancies in the return after scrutiny. Now see, इस केस में मेरी पार्टी को भी नोटिस आया कि आपका सप्लायर नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट हो गया. आपने उससे इतना ट्रांजैक्शन की है और आपने उसके वो पर्सन आपको ये आईटीसी एलिजिबल क्यों किया जाए. नाउ फ्रेंड्स, लुक हाउ आई हैव गिवन द रिप्लाई फॉर द सेम. We told them all the procedures, verification procedures have duly been, let me open the pen. All the relevant procedures, verification procedures, duly been conducted by the firm. Hamari transaction, all the returns have, we are a tax compliant person. We have been very regular in filing the GST returns. All the credits have been taken based upon appearance in 2A. And we have diligently adhered to all the provisions of section 16. अब मैंने पार्टी को क्या बोला? मैंने बोला तुम सारे documents, what documents we furnished? Tax invoices. We had the copy of tax invoices, duly supported by e-way bill, duly supported by transporter receipt. Friends, what I tried to prove, actual movement of goods through the transport receipts, e-way bill accompanied by tax invoice. I also got the GST certificate of the another person जिसका वो मुझे कह रहे हैं कि GST has been cancelled. Copy of account with that person duly acknowledged. And sir, we called the another party, and in this case they were cooperative. We asked them GSTR 1 and 3B of the other party जिसकी वजह से मुझे आईटीसी का नोटिस आया है. और सर जिस केस में हमें नहीं मिलता है, हम उस सामने वाली पार्टी का स्टेटस ऑनलाइन चेक कर लेते हैं, GSTR 1 और 3B. जिस पीरियड में मेरी ट्रांजैक्शन सामने वाले सप्लायर के साथ हुई है, उस पीरियड में उसने GSTR 1 और 3B फाइल किया हुआ है. और इस केस में तो मुझे 1 और 3B की कॉपी मिल गई. आई कुड प्रूव द टैक्स हैज ड्यूली बीन पेड. सामने वाले पर्सन का बिजनेस प्रीमाइसेस विद द साइन बोर्ड, कॉपी ऑफ 2B that was also obtained. That was also obtained. The copy of 2B. That the taxes are duly being showing and reflecting in 2B. And sir, now see, applying the conditions of section 16. First, he must be in the possession of 2A. Yes, complied. Copy of tax invoice is on record. Condition number 2, AA, reflection होना चाहिए 2A 2B में. The credit is appearing in 2A and 2B also. Receive होने चाहिए, complied. Tax transporter receipts are placed on record. GSTR 1 and 3B of the supplier have been placed on record. You have complied with the provisions subject to the provision section. The tax has been duly been discharged to the government. Complied. 3B and 1 of the supplier are matching. All the returns under section 39 have been filed. Yes, those have already been filed. Sir, section 16A, AA, B, C, D, all the conditions have duly been furnished. आप किस सेक्शन में कहते हैं कि मेरा आईटीसी डिनाई होगा? मेरा 2A में भी अपीयरेंस है, जब मैंने ट्रांजैक्शन की उसका नंबर भी वैलिड था, मेरे पास इनवॉइस की कॉपी भी है, एक्चुअल रिसीट ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज भी हुई, 16(2)(c) भी कंप्लाइड है, एंड इवन then that was based upon the facts of the case. Then I come to the legal grounds कि मेरे केस में तो 16(2)(c) भी complied है. कोर्ट्स ने तो वहां भी बेनिफिट एक्सटेंड किया है जहां 16(2)(c complied नहीं है. In my case, so the taxes have duly been paid. So government through LGW Industries, through Gargo Traders, through Hina case, through the various other cases, have duly given the benefit and the judgments in favor of the assessee. So how you can deny me the ITC? Denial of ITC cannot be justified. From perusal of above points, it is rightly concluded that there cannot be denial of ITC merely because the supplier became non-existent, where all the conditions of section 16 along with 16(2)(5 have duly been complied with. And with this, in this case, sir, the officer has given us the favorable order कि उससे पूछिए तो सर किस सेक्शन में आप मेरा रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर रहे हैं, विच सेक्शन, किस चीज का डिफॉल्ट है. There is no default. 16(2)(c complied hai. Everything is complied with. And now, when you are receiving the notices of mismatch of GST at 3B and 2A, friends, maximum notices are coming on account of mismatch of ITC as per 3B and 2A. So notice intimating first. I always take the ground. मेरा 2A इतना है और मेरा 3B इतना है. Difference इतना है, इतना due to tran 1 credit है. The difference is this. Sir, officer की figures को verify करें. From the perusal, it means I am now fighting the case only for this difference that was appearing in the figures. 2A is a dynamic document that keeps on changing. So if you have this difference, for now, this difference, you are going to give the reply. पहले section 16(2)(c की क्या conditions है, कौन सी conditions में, सर अभी जो मैंने आपको PPT दिखाई थी, that I have given. आप 2A और 2B में नॉन अपियरेंस है, दैट कैन नॉट बी अ कंक्लूसिव प्रूफ कि वो टैक्सेस पे नहीं हुए हैं. 2A में अपियर नहीं हो रहा, भारतीय एयरटेल का जजमेंट कम्स टू माय रेस्क्यू, LGW इंडस्ट्रीज कम टू माय रेस्क्यू, गार्गो ट्रेडर्स कम टू माय रेस्क्यू, DY बीथल कम्स टू माय रेस्क्यू. Your on press release says that you cannot do so, or mere procedural lapse की वजह से the substantive right cannot be taken away. Aisha Motors, Daiichi Karkaria, all these judgments clear cut says that you cannot take my ITC, which has become a vested right, merely because of a procedural lapse of non-reflection in 2A. Sir, all these judgments have been quoted, and then we have defended that non-reflection in 2A is not a right. So what I want to highlight here, that please give a complete reply whenever you receive the notices. Don't hesitate at whatever level you are giving the replies. Of course, the doctrine of impossibilia and all other documents come to your rescue. All other points come to your rescue. That whether ITC, the person should be entitled to ITC and cannot be denied because of such procedural lapses. Now, friends, coming to 16(4) notices. Acha, how many of you have received 16 subsection 4 notices? How many of you? Mr. JP, I will certainly share. Manoj Agarwal ji is saying that yes, I have received. Whether notice or letter received without physical signature or DSC is valid. Sir, प्लीज चेक, जहां पे रूल 142 लगता है, 142 का प्रॉपर कंप्लायंस होना चाहिए, पोर्टल पे अपलोडेड होना चाहिए, इधर ईमेल और अदरवाइज होना चाहिए. देयर इज नो नीड कि दैट शुड बी मैनुअली साइंड, और अदरवाइज इफ देयर आर डिजिटल सिग्नेचर दैट इज आल्सो वैलिड. सो वेयर एवर रूल 142 इज रिक्वायर्ड टू बी फॉलोड, दैट शुड बी adhered to. Now let me talk about 16(4). Friends, I know we have got certain judgments where if it is received in the physical mode, whether it is uploaded on the portal, sir, whether it is uploaded along on the portal, no, only in the physical form, then it should have been signed. then it should have been signed. Okay. Now be with me for 16.4. 16.4. Friends, 16.4 की अगर मैं time limits की बात करूं, Tirumala Konda is one of the judgments. It's one of the writ petition judgment which we have got and which says, but I will come to the facts of that also. सर वो जजमेंट अगेंस्ट जरूर है, उसने 16 सबसेक्शन 4 के टाइम लिमिट्स की वैलिडिटी को हेल्ड किया है, but there are certain grounds that have not been considered in the Tirumala Konda judgment, and we expect in the times to come we'll get a better or a favorable judgment in that aspect. Now, I already told you GST is a weird world and you need to fight for the same. Validity of the time limits. Have you all read section 16 subsection 4 along with section 16 subsection 1? I hope. एक बार दोबारा read करते हैं, and that is one of my very vital grounds to defend 16 subsection 4. Registered person. See, this is what 16 subsection 4 has to say. 16.4 says, a registered person shall not be entitled to take input tax credit. Okay, what restriction it is putting upon? 16.4 आपके entitlement को restrict कर रहा है. It is restricting your entitlement to take input tax credit. All right. Now let's read once 16 subsection 1 with me. It's just one-liner section. Have a look. Every registered, then I will compare 16 subsection 4 and 16 subsection 1. Every registered person shall, subject to conditions and restrictions as may be prescribed and in the manner specified in section 49. Now look, entitled to take input tax credit. कुछ जाने पहचाने words लग रहे हैं ये. Entitled to take credit of input tax. Oh yes. ऐसे ही वर्ड हमने 16 सबसेक्शन 4 में अभी पढ़े थे. एंटाइटलमेंट पे रिस्ट्रिक्शन. 16 subsection 1 has two limbs. Entitlement to take and credited to electronic credit ledger. It means entitlement to take is another thing and credit to electronic credit ledger is the second layer. एक बार आप entitled हो गए, अगर goods use हो रहे हैं in the course or furtherance of business, then such amount shall be credited to the electronic credit ledger of such person. Now let's come back to 16 subsection 4. Sir, इस limb को restrict कर रहा है 16 subsection 4. Only entitlement को restrict कर रहा है. Only entitlement को. Credit to 3B और सर credit to electronic credit ledger कैसे होता है? 3B के थ्रू होता है. इसको restrict नहीं कर रहा है. अगर if we read 16 subsection 1 along with 16 subsection 4, 16 subsection 4, the time limit condition is only put upon the entitlement. और entitlement तो तभी हो जाती है जब आप section 16 की conditions fulfill करते हैं. When you fulfill the conditions of section 16, you become entitled. Entitlement is in the books of account, and then that thing is credited to the electronic credit ledger. So if I say it is only putting the restriction on what? Only and only upon the, have a look on this document. I show you. So if we read section 16 subsection 4, it is just putting the restriction on entitlement to take ITC. Sir, I know ALD automotive का judgment है where the apex court has held कि भाई आप time limits लगा सकते हैं. You can put the time limits. But however, entitlement versus availment in 3B, these points need to be considered when the said judgment will be applicable in case of 16 subsection 4 or not. और सर आजकल तो एक और काम हो रहा है, शायद मनोज भाई wanted to put a pointer to that. 16 subsection 4 आजकल बायर साथ भी बायर पनिश किया जा रहा है अगर सप्लायर रिटर्न लेट फर्निश कर रहा है. दिस इज द न्यू एंगल बीइंग गिवन टू इट. नाउ लुक व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. अभी somebody put the 16.4 के ये वाला क्वेरी किसी ने डाली थी एंड आई टोल्ड हिम कि जब मैं 16.4 कराऊंगी देन आई विल बी डीलिंग विद द क्वेरी. लुक, आपको आईटीसी डिनाई किया जा रहा है, आपके 2A में भी अपीयर हो रहा है, बट सामने वाले ने उसकी रिटर्न सितंबर, पहले तो सितंबर टाइम पीरियड था ना, अभी 30 नवंबर है. सप्लायर ने अपनी उस पीरियड की रिटर्न 16/4 के टाइम पीरियड के बाद फाइल की है. तो रिसिपिएंट, तुम चाहे आईटीसी ले चुके हो पर तुम्हें हम आईटीसी अलाउ नहीं करेंगे. Sir, 16.4 is being used as a double-edged weapon. It is being used as a double-edged weapon. Recipient को ITC deny किया जा रहा है, चाहे उसने अपनी 3B में ले रखा है, अगर मेरा 2B में रिफ्लेक्शन उस पीरियड के बाद हुआ है. Please mind it. Section 16 subsection 4 is a ITC related section. Considering, और सर ये और कोई नहीं, आपका जो GST या 2B जो ऑनलाइन आता है ना, वो भी अगर आपके सामने वाले सप्लायर ने लेट फाइल किया है ना, वो इसको उठा के रेड जोन में ले जाता है. एंड सी द आयरनी ऑफ द सिचुएशन, the one who has paid the taxes will be denied the ITC. क्यों? क्योंकि आपके सप्लायर ने जो रिटर्न है वो लेट फाइल किया है. Demand and recovery based upon the belated return of the supplier, it actually defeats the very intent of the entire law. And when we are replying to such notices, we are resorting to the same points as I told, lex cogit non ad impossibilia. You cannot ask me all those judgments that are I quoted there, that you cannot use as a double recovery is just because of the procedural lapse or delaying filing of return by the supplier. Right now, when you are receiving 16.4 notices, entitlement verse the word 16 subsection 4 is just putting the restriction on entitlement. आप एंटाइटल तो तभी कर चुके हो जब आप अपनी बुक्स में दे रहे हो, जब आप ले चुके हो. यू कैन नॉट टॉक अबाउट द एंटाइटलमेंट. अब तो आप सिर्फ क्रेडिट लेजर में बाद में ले रहे हो. 16 subsection 4 does not put a condition on taking the ITC in the credit ledger through 3B. And sir, the same Bharti Airtel judgment, if you read that judgment, it is mentioning the input tax credit is additionally recorded in the, sir, even the apex court is mentioning ITC is additionally recorded in the electronic credit ledger of such person, meaning thereby entitlement is different and credit in electronic credit ledger is different. And ITC entitlement तो आप पहले ही कर चुके हो within the time frame of 16 subsection 4. Now only you are crediting it late in the 3B. और 16.4 तो 3B पे रिस्ट्रिक्शन ही नहीं लगा रहा. और सर अगर 3B में रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगाना इंटेंट होता गवर्नमेंट का, सो जितनी आपकी एमएनएसटी स्कीम आई है, वेवर ऑफ लेट फी आया है, गवर्नमेंट नोवेयर मेंशन्ड ITC will not be eligible. It defeats the very purpose of giving the MNST scheme of the waiver of the late fee if the ITC will not be given to the person subject to 16 subsection 4. And yes, violative of Article 300A. 16.2 is a restrictive section with non-obstante clause. ITC cannot be denied merely on the violation of certain procedural lapses when it becomes a vested right on fulfillment of main conditions that are put in section 16. that are put in section 16. So substantive right cannot be taken away. And these, and sir, and these are the judgments which clearly states, and where sir 16(4) के provision बहुत सारी और cases में, like Aniruddha Banerjee, Nitya Niyati Constructions, Shriji Earth, in all these cases, it has been challenged before many honorable high courts through writ petitions. Let's see what the time has to say. In the time to come, what are the judgments would we get? Although Thirumala Konda plywood is a judgment by Honorable Andhra Pradesh High Court, where the writ petition decision is favoring 16(4) time limits. But sir, it is only issued on 3 grounds. Only on the 3 grounds. Talking about the constitutional validity of 16(4). First, it says non-obstante clause, the time limit जो prescribe की गई है वो article 40, 91G और 300A का violation नहीं है. 16(2) का कोई overriding effect नहीं है 16(4) पे. And sir, कहीं ना कहीं I also feel that it operates independently, applying the provision of harmonious construction. हार्मोनियस, आप 16(2) को भी कंप्लाई कीजिए, 16(4) को भी कंप्लाई कीजिए, बट आप ये देखिए, इट इज जस्ट रेफरिंग टू नॉन ऑब्स्टेंट clause of 16(2). However, the other grounds that I specified above, that it puts the condition only on the entitlement and not on the other grounds, Thirumala Konda has not commented anything on the same. So let's see. As of now, whatever 16(4) notices we are receiving, all these 7 pointers that I have given you above, we have put and Vivek ji, I think so you asked that question of 16(4) nowhere refers to GST or one filing of the supplier. Absolutely. And that is what I said. It is an ITC provision. You cannot say he has filed, although I have claimed it rightly before the time period of 16 subsection 4 in my returns. So you cannot deny that. So it is being used as a double-edged weapon. We need to fight for the same and give the legal replies for 16(4). And let's see in the time to come if we get any favorable judgment for the same. Friends, whenever we are giving reply to the notices, let me highlight one second. I would like to show you certain, whenever you're replying to the notices are relating to ITC or otherwise, I want to give, before I end up my session, I just want to show you one more very important, pertinent to reply of judgments. Let me open that. Yeah. Yes. Friends, whenever you are replying, let me make the slideshow of it too. Sir, first of all, I am just briefing you certain points. कभी-कभी आपको notices आते हैं and you directly go rushing, replying to the same. You just go rushing, reply to the same. Friends, this is one of the article which I wrote. Fractured notices, a luscious candy to the taxpayer. Audi Ultram Poltram, don't worry, Lalanji, I will share the PPT. Just be with me, organizers will be kicking me out. It's going to be 1 o'clock. But before I end up, I really want to put certain points which are not only helpful for replying the ITC notices, but whatever notices you get. Audi Ultra Poltram is the rule. Partum is the rule. Let the other side be heard. हमें मौका दीजिए अपना पॉइंट जस्टिफाई करने का. दैट इज व्हाई शो कॉज नोटिस इज अ कंडीशन प्रेसिडेंट टू एनी डिमांड. बट इसको एक लस्चियस कैंडी की तरह मत दिखाए. Many notices that are coming these days are actually fractured in the sense those are not equipped with the pointers that should be there, and we in a hurry goes on replying those notices. there are certain pointers which we need to consider before we reply for the notices. May it be the scrutiny notices. Sir, अब जैसे scrutiny notices आते हैं, one point I want to highlight. What is the difference between assessment, scrutiny, and or the audit? Friends, audit जो है वो एक detailed examination है, जिसमें आपका ट्रायल मंगवाया जाता है, बुक्स मंगवाई जाती है, सब कुछ चेक किया जा सकता है. But assessments, ASMT forms are point driven. Point driven, yes. ऑफिसर तुम्हें पहले डिस्क्रिपेंसी ढूंढनी है और वो डिस्क्रिपेंसी नोटिस में मेंशन करनी है, तब हम उसका रिप्लाई देंगे. क्विक क्वेश्चन टू ऑल ऑफ यू. A person received a notice mentioning GSTR 1 sale is 1 crore. As per GSTR, as per e-way portal, the figure is 1.5 crores. So what about the 50 lakh turnover? Kindly explain the discrepancy. Is it a valid notice as per section 61? Valid hai, yes or no? GSTR 1 and e-way bill data is mismatching. Will you be replying to the same? Quickly, yes or no? No. Acha, those who are writing no, why no? Why no? Quickly, why no? Everybody has replied no. Deepak Gupta ji no, Atul Mehrotra ji no, Yogesh ji no, Kamal ji no. Why no? Friends, it is no. E-way bill is route permit. Okay, Atul ji still not reached the point. Absolutely, Sumit ji. Specific details not mentioned. No JPG. Only return can be screwed. No, not only return. Okay, I changed the query. You received a notice barring Sumit ji's answer. You received a query. GSTR 3B data is 1 crore and e-way bill data is 1.5 crore. Is it a valid notice? Is it a valid notice? Is it a valid notice? Quickly, yes or no? Case number 2. No. Kamal ji, no again. Imtiaz ji, no again. Then you haven't got to the right question. Now let me answer. Let me answer. First pointer. First, where I said GSTR 1 compared to e-way bill portal was not a valid notice. Because if you read section 61, I have that with me. If you read section 61, that says, scrutinize the return and related particulars. Here, scrutinize the return and related particulars. Now, sir, neither GSTR 1 is a return, not e-way bill is a return. E-way bill portal. E-way bill portal data can fall under related particulars. But what about return? GSTR 1 is merely a statement of outward supplies. So the notice itself is invalid. Notice itself is invalid because section 61 says ASMT 10 can be issued based upon scrutinize the return and related particulars furnished by the RP. As to the correctness of the return, highlight the discrepancies noticed, and then the RTP has to reply the same. But in first case, neither GSTR 1 nor e-way bill portal, there was no return. So the notice was invalid. In the second case, the notice was valid, my dear friend. Scrutinize the return and related particulars. Yes, 3B is a return. And in the related particulars is your GST, is your e-way bill portal data. Now they are trying to verify the same, reconcile the same. And there is difference. They have issued you GST ASMT 10 and you were supposed to reply for the same. Please read the law verbatim. I hope those who replied no for the second case have got the answer. Yes or no, quickly. Now, please be careful for these pointers whenever you are going to reply the GST notices. Check the jurisdiction. Right, Imtiaz ji? Approvals necessary has been taken. Sir, जब ये GST drive was continued, now my party said the officer has come, he's asking for the stock records, he's asking. I said, you are not, they are most welcome. वो आपका jurisdictional officer है. वो आपके प्रेमाइसिस पर आए हैं, कुछ देख रहे हैं, कोई ड्राइव चल रही है, पर यू आर नॉट सपोज टू प्रोवाइड एनी डॉक्यूमेंट टू दिस पर्सन until or unless he is the authorized officer and he's carrying the necessary approvals. It provides you the approvals. आपके इंस्पेक्शन करने आते हैं, the officer must not be below the rank of joint commissioner, or they must have INS 01 in their hand stating कि इंस्पेक्शन की पावर है, अप्रूवल है, जेसी का प्रॉपर अप्रूवल है, फॉर इंस्पेक्शन है और फॉर सर्च है. Wherever applicable, the necessary provisions have been taken. Limitation period में नोटिस है कि नहीं, स्पीकिंग ऑर्डर है या नहीं, मॉनिटरी लिमिट्स, जिस पर्सन की जितनी मॉनिटरी लिमिट है उसके अकॉर्डिंग है कि नहीं, proper officer, the person who is issuing you the notice is a proper officer. No mode of service. अभी somebody was writing in the chat box कि मुझे नोटिस ऐसे आया, क्या वो मोड हुए हैं, क्या दिन अप्लाई किया गया है, is the order beyond the शोकॉज नोटिस? और सर ये सब केसेस भरे हुए हैं जीएसटी में. हम इग्नोरेंस, हम नोटिस इशू होता है, दैट इज देयर आर सर्टेन पॉइंटर्स व्हिच वी लैक. Wrong formats are being used. Ignorance as to jurisdiction. So please make your reply on legal as well as factual grounds. और सर जितने points मैंने आगे mention किए हैं उन सब के related case laws और provision मैंने दिए हैं. आपको section 75 के according proper opportunity of being heard मिलनी चाहिए. 75 subsection 7 says notice. अब ये तो मैं legal provision बता रही हूँ और इसके बाद मैं jurisprudence भी इससे related बताऊंगी. Proper opportunity of being heard होना चाहिए. Section 75(7) says notice and order should be on the same lines. One penalty for one default. I have come across certain situations where the officer said, मैं तो section 74 में भी penalty लगाऊंगा और उसके बाद 122 में भी लगाऊंगा. You cannot put me under prejudice by invoking two penal provisions for one default. Section 75 subsection 3. So all these points needs to be considered. Sir, एक point जो मैंने आगे mention किया था, like DIN, it should be there. Circular का reference, monetary limits. किसकी कितनी monetary limit है? आजकल सारे 73 के notices आए हैं for which we are complying with. Who has issued the notice? Whether it is according to the monetary limits being issued by the officer concerned. Power of limitation. If it is, sir, कई cases में तो, अच्छा एक बात बताइए, क्या DRC 01A आया है आपको DRC 01 से पहले? Most of the cases where SCNs have been issued at the last moment, no DRC 01A has been issued. I know, my dear friends, उसमें may word आ चुका है. But still, if you go through it, may आया है, आप DRC 01 issue नहीं कर रहे हैं, but you must put a reason in writing recorded why DRC 01A has not been issued. So DRC 01A का time period actually August में था और 30th सितंबर जो थी लास्ट डेट थी 73 के नोटिसेस की. इन्होंने हेस्ट में 73 के नोटिसेस सितंबर मंथ में बल्क में इशू की. 01A का टाइम पीरियड निकल चुका था. Without recording the reasons why DRC 01A has not been issued, they have issued जितने पहले नोटिसेस आए हैं उन सब में DRC 01A आया है. Although they have introduced the word may over there, okay, if you are not issuing, but the reasons with respect to the same must be recorded. And when we are replying to the notices, we are putting it as one of the ground that DRC 01A per se has not been issued in that particular case. Limitation. These are the time periods. और सर अब तो टाइम पीरियड एक्सटेंड हुए हैं. मैंने इस स्लाइड में एक्सटेंडेड टाइम पीरियड्स दिए हैं कि कब तक नोटिसेस इशू होने चाहिए थे, कब तक ऑर्डर पास होने चाहिए, बोथ 73 एंड 74. देखिए 30th 9 का टाइम पीरियड निकल चुका है, 31st दिसंबर तक उसके ऑर्डर पास होने चाहिए. So all these time limits must be adhered to. Service. All these modes as mentioned in section 169 of CGST Act are valid. However, अगर रूल 142 में एक पर्टिकुलर मोड लिखा गया है, सर, योर MOV केसेस, मोबाइल विंग केसेस, 129 penalty orders. कहीं रूल 142 फॉलो नहीं किया जाता, और जहां 142 फॉलो नहीं हुआ, इतने सारे केस लॉज हैं, and we take these as the grounds when we prepare the appeals or when we raise the objection. Procedure led, although valid word से सर्व कर दिया, ईमेल के थ्रू कर दिया, डीआरसी पोर्टल पे इशू कर दिया, ऑर्डर नहीं है नीचे. सर, डीआरसी फॉर्म्स आर मेयरली द समरीज, अंडरलाइंग ऑर्डर होना जरूरी है. So these case law says where the procedure laid down in 142 have not been followed, only summaries have been issued in DRC form, it will not be considered as a valid service, although it is as per the mods mentioned under section 169. Moreover, even opportunity of personal hearing nahi di. I have given you here all the case laws that it should be provided. It is our right that proper opportunity of personal hearing, considering the principle of natural justice, should be provided. Notice and order should be on same lines. Or sir, in my case only, I have received a show cause notice for refund on one ground, order of rejection of a refund being passed on another ground, and in the appellate we have got the favorable judgment quoting that the order. So we have various Supreme Court judgments on the issue. Order issued on the grounds other than the grounds specified in the show cause notice is not a valid notice, not a valid order. Notice must contain all the essentials, should not be based upon assumptions. Non-speaking orders wherever passed. Sir, cancellation of registration के बहुत notices आए. आपका एड्रेस नहीं मिला, cancellation. You cannot do so. Cancellation of registration on ground of vague SCN without specifying the grounds of section 29, without any inquiry, without opportunity of being heard, and ignoring the replies being filed, you cannot cancel the registrations based upon such vague SCNs. Even for 129 case laws, I have given here certain case laws which I have used for my appeals and everything, and we have got many favorable judgments. And yes, 3 months का time period है जैसे appeals file करने का. What should be taken as date of communication? 3 months कहाँ से count करूं? Sir, there are judgments which says when you have been actually served the notice or date of uploading on the portal. आपको 4 दिन पहले आ गया manual, uploading on the portal late हुई है. So we have got various judgments which says that uploading on the portal will be considered as a date and 3 months will be counted for there. Please, whenever you are furnishing your replies, please exercise utmost care in the points that proper notices and proper orders must have been passed. With this, I end up my deliberation for the day. Over to you, sir. If any query to any person that may be asked.
Thank you, Achal ma'am. Before proceeding further, may I request our chairperson, C.S. Sakshi Jhajaria. Actually, we missed her opening remarks. In the melee, we forgot to ask for her opening remarks. Now, can I ask C.S. Sakshi Jhajaria to give her remarks and also summarize, if she wishes, on C. Achal Kapoor's deliberation? Ma'am, Sakshi ma'am, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. No worries. We've had a wonderful kickstart for the session, actually. Anshul ma'am has really kept the audience glued to the screen. Although it was a webinar, it didn't really feel like a webinar at all. And from the very moment she began, it was a wonderful kickstart and a wonderful session. And yes, the deliberation itself has been so insightful today because the topic in itself is so relevant. So we are doing a GST litigation series, and I think ITC is that one concept on which GST is entirely based. So when GST was introduced, like ma'am showed the object clause in itself, it is mentioned that the entire idea is seamless flow of ITC. And over the years, we have seen how ITC has actually been restricted. through 36(4), and now with the advent of GSTR 2B. And the only reason behind all of this happening is because of the failure of implementation of GSTR 1, 2, and 3. The matching mechanism was always there in the law, but the matching was required with GSTR 2, which was never implemented. And now the government is trying to actually make good of all the laws by, introducing Circular 183. Now you can show your certificate, but why should I show that certificate when the law, when the statute did not have that provision? Even then, what is happening is we have to present that certificate, and in a lot of cases that I've seen, what happens is that the recipient is not even in touch with the supplier anymore. We're talking about something that happened 6 years ago. And but yes, that is how it is. And now, because the orders for section 73 for financial year 17-18 are getting time barred in December, the notices that have come, the department has blatantly issued notices, as already pointed out by ma'am. Notices have been issued, and the most common point is mismatch between 2A and 3B. Now deal with it. Simply, we have been just thrown into the ocean. Deal with this. We are talking about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Deal with it, what to do. And the common point that I have actually ensured to put in all the replies that we file, and obviously we have already had a good discussion on that, that your reply should be divided into two parts. One is the legality of the notice, the legal provisions, which ma'am has already very appropriately pointed out, and the facts of the case. So we talk about the legality, that the recipient cannot be held responsible for the default of the supplier. Of course, the doctrine of impossibility comes into play, and the 2A matching was not at all mandatory during the time of 17-18 and 18-19. But yes, factually also, because we are dealing with departmental officers and we are not before the courts, so definitely we have to put the facts on the plate. And yes, that is another important part of our reply to show cause notice. So wonderful deliberation, ma'am. And I think we are open for a question answer session. So anybody who has their questions may put it in the chat box, please.
Sir, one question, which should I?
Yes,
One
yes, ma'am, please
yeah,
carry
all
on.
right,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you, Sakshi, ma'am. Firstly, for your wonderful words, and it actually means a lot for me. Friends, one question which I could read was about the building, whitewashing and the repairs, etc. It's perfectly an allowed expenditure, and it is not restricted under Section 17, subsection 5. I request Sakshi, ma'am, wherever feels or any other member want to add something to it, you are most welcome to add that. Friends, look, 17 subsection 5 C or D puts restriction only on the capitalized expenditures. So even if your building is being shown as a capitalized expenditure, but you are incurring certain repairs on the same, which you are claiming in your P&L, whitewashing, etc., it is perfectly an allowed ITC. The ITC on the same is allowed, and there is no denial of it under section 17 subsection 5. Sir, how we are going to go for the questions now?
Ma'am, can you answer a couple of questions from me, ma'am?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Ma'am, my question is relating to ITC on insurance premiums. See, the point, a firm is there wherein it's paying premium on key insurance policy. That is, the senior partner has been taken a policy on which certain premium is being paid and GST is being charged. That is one part of it. And the firm has also a strength of, say, 100 laborers on which they have taken staff. They have taken health insurance also. So there is also an element of GST. So these two things, my question is whether there is any restriction on availing ITC credit in respect of either of them or both of them, or you can take one, you cannot take the other.
Manish ji, let me come to the Keyman Insurance Policies ITC. If you talk about the direct restriction, yes, Section 17, subsection 5 puts a condition in taking the ITC of LIC policies when it is being done on the life of a particular person, but to my considered view, it is a very, very fightable case in case of keyman insurance policy, because it is being done in the course or furtherance of business. और आजकल जो keyman insurance policy हो रही है, that is not particularly related only on the life of that person, but beyond that, that if the person leaves the organization, or if he's we have to compensate for that
There is a
purposes.
disruption and all that is also covered in this kind of policy.
Absolutely. So yes, as present in the cases that I have come for, the department is litigating on the issues where the ITC have been taken on the same. But at the higher levels, the point can be well argued that section 17(5) provision should not hit where it is done in the course or furtherance of business, and likewise for the health insurance also. And sir, ये मनीष जी इशू बहुत पॉप अप हुआ था जब कोविड में हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसीज एम्प्लॉइज की करवाई गई थी.
बिल्कुल इनफैक्ट मैं जिस क्लाइंट
तो
की बात
इसमें
कर रहा हूँ
सर
मैम,
बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट का भी हमारे पास जजमेंट्स है, कोका कोला कंपनी का भी जजमेंट है, जहां पे प्री जीएसटी रिजीम में इस तरह के आईटीसी विच हैज बीन डन इन ऑर्डर टू सिक्योर द लाइफ ऑफ द एम्प्लॉइज और दे आर लीविंग द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एंड सर्टेन हर्डल्स एंड हेल्थ बेनिफिट्स टू द एम्प्लॉइज हैव बीन कंसिडर्ड एंड द बेनिफिट ऑफ आईटीसी हैज बीन अलाउड. बट लेट मी टेल यू फ्रैंकली, directly availing it without going into litigation is a big question mark in this. And especially, you see, sir, we have been fighting for the expenditure which we make relating to what you call benefit जो हम करते हैं, जो इसके अभी रिस्ट्रिक्शंस आ गई हैं कि अगर आप वेलफेयर के लिए भी कर रहे हो तो दे हैव स्पेसिफिकली CSR की बात करिए. एब्सोल्युटली, आई वाज मिसिंग ऑन द वर्ड CSR case mein, although in the previous periods we have been fighting and continuously saying that the ITC relating to the activities undertaken on account of CSR should have been allowed. The government now has particularly put that under 17(5), but still for the periods before the amendment was implemented, it still gives a very good fightable case. And same do in case of keyman insurance and in case of the health insurance of the employees, resorting up to the various judgments that have come in previous regime. As I mentioned, Coca-Cola case judgment, and there are few Bombay High Court judgments where the benefit has already been given.
Fine, ma'am. मैम साक्षी मैम आप ले रही हैं और क्वेश्चंस आप लेंगी मैम, प्लीज.
Let's just go through if there's anything else in the chat box.
You can just take up the questions one by one.
What can be strategy on contesting common ITC availed against sale of one of the unit, but no paid against sale of the unit that is covered under exemption? Sir, for such query, if you can even want to unmute the person concerned and directly ask, that will be a quicker one, I guess.
Ma'am, we can do one thing. We can.
गौरव जी आप हैं क्या? गौरव जी, गौरव अग्रवाल का क्वेश्चन है.
Raise their hands one by one and then ask.
Yes, good afternoon, madam.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. So, first of all, thank you for deliberating such a good session and enhancing our knowledge.
It's my pleasure, sir. Thank you.
So, ma'am, my query was basically, suppose a company is having 2 units. So, one of the unit the company has hived off, considering it has lot of debt. So, the company has hived off that unit and sold to other company.
Yes, sir. But my first question, the 2 units were under 2 different GSTN or were it under the same GST?
2 different GSTN, ma'am.
2 different GSTN. All right.
So the unit which got sold out, so against that, the company has not discharged any tax liability because it is already covered under the exemption
because it is business sold as a whole.
Correct, ma'am.
Right.
However, the company has availed common ITC during the transition phase, even against those expenses which were incurred purely in relation to recovery, the sale of that particular unit. Suppose, ma'am, we wanted to sell one unit, and for selling that one unit, we wanted to figure out the buyer. For that, we have appointed some corporate advisor who has charged some tax, and we have availed credit and cross-charge to the different units. So so the department is disputing those credit, ma'am. So how to strategize such contention from the department?
No, sir. Let me come to the question once again. Now, while disposing of that unit in that GSTN number, that GSTN number has multiple units in which you have discarded one unit. Is that GST number being continued, and how come?
Yes, so ma'am, that GST number is still continued because some slag were also there. So every month the company used to charge GST on sale of slag.
Right, sir. So now if that GSTN number is being continued and you have disposed of a unit, आपने उसका ITC लिया होगा, तो आप उसको ITC 02 के through भी उस ITC को transfer कर सकते थे to the another unit when the business is being sold as a whole. So now where the officer is disputing the same, it was perfectly an eligible ITC.
So ma'am, the unit which I'm talking about, suppose a unit is sold in the state of Jharkhand.
सर एक क्वेश्चन जो इस पे डिपार्टमेंट डिस्प्यूट अराइज करता है, मुझे नहीं पता आपका डिस्प्यूट उससे ही रिलेटेड है नहीं, वो ये करते हैं कि दिस इज एन एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाई, तो नीचे वाली ट्रांजैक्शंस का आईटीसी क्यों दिया जाए? डू यू वांट टू से?
Correct.
सर, we have a judgment of Rajshri Industries in this case, which comes to your rescue, which is a favorable judgment. आप इसको एग्जेम ट्रांजैक्शन मानकर आप उसका आईटीसी डिनाई नहीं करेंगे, बिकॉज इसके बहुत सारे देन अदर रेप्रिकॉशंस आ सकते हैं. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू मी इट इज एलिजिबल आईटीसी, और आपको ज्यूरिस्प्रूडेंस पे रिजॉर्ट करते हुए यू मस्ट फाइट फॉर द सेम.
So
Rajshri
madam,
Productions
just one more
case
thing
law
on this,
है, which is for your favor.
So ma'am, it is pronounced by which honorable High Court?
I need to check the citation. I will share with you. Name is Rajshri Productions.
No ma'am, I will figure out. Thank you ma'am. Thank you.
Any other? A transporter has taken two registration, one FCM and one RCM. Is it allowed? Ankit ji, according to me, in the same PAN number, it is not allowed to go for RCM and FCM together. So it can be, you cannot go for the same. The transporter either has to go for RCM or FCM under the same PAN number. You cannot choose both the options simultaneously. Can wrongly paid excess output GST be adjusted against demand raised by the department for not reversing ITC due to CN issued by the supplier? Atulji, definitely. I will always say the officer, if I have a particular demand and I have excess paid output tax credit, adjust from that. You calculate the total liability now. Let him calculate the total liability. Whatever is the tax paid, let him give you the benefit, and for the rest you pay. आप ये कहना चाहते हो एक हेड में एक्सेस पेमेंट है, दूसरे में आपको शॉर्टेज निकल रहा है. So, of course, I will contest कि मेरा इतना तो already excess paid था. So, net liability should be worked out for the same. Is the reversal of common ITC required under 42 in case of turnover of duty drawback and supply? Answer is no, sir. It is not considered as an exempt supply for the purpose of section 17, subsection 3. One travel agent, he booked a hotel on behalf of client, and hotel charged 12% GST on same to travel agent. Now, can we take credit off and same pass on? Sir, अगर वो bill travel agent के नाम का है, there are two methodologies. क्या करते हैं, या तो travel agent directly party का GSTN number डलवा देते हैं. So in that case, the party is eligible to take ITC on the same directly. Else, अगर उन्होंने अपना GSTN number डलवाया है, तो then the travel agent will further issue a bill to the another party, and in that way they can pass on the credit to them. In notices, department officer mentioned that department is in receipt of information, and based on that they issue SCN. And when asking for that information, they said in notice we already mentioned it, but they don't provide any relevant document. Is it right? Sir, sorry, वो screen ऊपर चला गया. ये आपको notice के section में आया है. In notices, department officers, you have not mentioned कि क्या notice है, whether there is a relevant ground. I couldn't get this query clear from, मतलब मुझे ये query पूरी clear नहीं, मैं समझ रही हूँ आप पूछ रहे हैं कि what has been the base of issuing that document. Sir, reason recorded, you want to say. पहली बात, आप हर केस में reason recorded नहीं मांग सकते हैं. रीजन रिकॉर्डेड होने चाहिए, फाइल में नोटेड डाउन होने चाहिए. आपका SCN कौन से सेक्शन है, क्या बेस है. आपसे अगर कोई डिस्क्रिपेंसी पूछी जाती है कि 3B और 2B में है, that is a valid notice. अब what is the notice on the ground, और क्या रीजन आप जानना चाहते हो, व्हाट इज द अगर ये किसी थर्ड पार्टी के इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पर है तो ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव द राइट टू डिमांड द कॉपी ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट और टू क्रॉस एग्जामिन दैट पार्टी. सो यू नीड टू स्पेसिफाई दैट व्हाट इज द बेस ऑफ द शो कॉज नोटिस फॉर दैट. Suppose 24/11/23 invoice issued 4 party individually, but vehicle number same. Okay. Invoice value not cross way bill limit, but total 4 invoices cross e-way bill limit. Okay. According to me, so Gigi, you want to ask ki there in a vehicle there are 4 packets, each is individually below 50,000 rupees and is been issued to 4 different parties. तो क्या e-way bill का 50,000 का लिमिट लगेगा? आंसर इज नो. Until और अनलेस अगर डिपार्टमेंट ये प्रूव करता है कि कोई आपने डेलिबरेटली उनको ब्रेक डाउन किया है, पार्टी सेम है, इन दैट केस तो वो फिर भी कंसाइनमेंट्स को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. बट अदरवाइज अगर 4 डिफरेंट पार्टीज हैं, 4 उसमें पैकेट्स हैं, चारों 50,000 से नीचे हैं, तो व्हीकल का टोटल लिमिट 50,000 क्रॉस करता है तो आपको ई-वे बिल का रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है.
अच्छा मैम,
पेड
मैम आरसीएम से जुड़ा हुआ एक प्रश्न है.
ये सर अतुल जी का है, इट इज ऑन माय
हाँ,
स्क्रीन.
और उसके साथ में मैं थोड़ा जोड़ना चाहता हूँ.
सर लेट मी रीड द क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट एंड देन यू ऐड ऑन. पेड आरसीएम फॉर 22-23 November 23. Can we claim ITC on such RCM paid in November 23? What a question. And ये वैसे मेरी डेलिब्रेशन का पार्ट था, बट मैंने डील नहीं किया.
मैं जोड़ लूं थोड़ा सा तो फिर. हाँ, ये इसके 2 पार्ट्स हैं मैम. एक मान लीजिए एक ऑडिट हो रहा है. ऑडिट में the audit people have brought on certain element on which RCM needed to be paid and we pay. That is one part. And ये तो ऑडिट में पकड़ में आया, हमने पे कर दिया. दूसरा, एक फाइनेंशियल ईयर जो कि खत्म हो चुका है, उस पे हमने आरसीएम नहीं पे किया था, अगले फाइनेंशियल ईयर में हम पे कर रहे हैं, सुओ मोटो कर रहे हैं. तो देयर इज differences too. Now, what I have faced, or rather I have encountered, when the payment is made at the insistence of the audit party, they say you cannot take ITC credit of that. Is that the correct way of law? और दूसरी बात है, अगर हम अगले साल पे कर रहे हैं पिछले साल से, तो क्या हम आईटीसी क्लेम करने में कोई परेशानी है टेक्निकली? आई होप आई मैं क्वेश्चन को समझा पाया हूं. साक्षी मैम, अगर आप भी कुछ जोड़ना चाहती है तो जोड़ सकती है मैम. जी मैम, मेरा प्रश्न समझ में आया मैम?
सर बिल्कुल मुझे आपका प्रश्न समझ में आया, और सिर्फ आपका ही नहीं है, बहुत सारे लोगों का यही क्वेश्चन है. सर अगर आप मुझसे पूछेंगे, मैं सेक्शन 16(2) और 16(4) को एक हार्मोनियस इंटरप्रिटेशन दूंगी. पहली बात, मैं आरसीएम को 2 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करूंगी. आरसीएम किस पर्सन का है? एडवोकेट का एग्जाम्पल ले लेते हैं. पहला एडवोकेट वो है जो रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है, यूआरपी है. दूसरा एडवोकेट वो है जो रजिस्टर्ड है. सर आरसीएम तो आपको दोनों केसेस में ही मनीष जी पे करना है.
बिल्कुल,
इस वाले में भी, इस वाले में भी.
बिल्कुल.
बट जो पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है उसमें सेल्फ इनवॉइसिंग आपको करना है. Correct. उसमें आपको ही पेमेंट करना है. जो पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड है उस केस में इनवॉइस उसका आएगा, आपको चलान के थ्रू आरसीएम का पेमेंट करना है. अब जरा 16(2) और 16(4) को पढ़िए. पहले अगर मैं सिक्वेंशियली भी देखूं, पहले 16(2) लगेगा, देन 16(4) आएगा. मैं 2 मिनट के लिए नॉट विद स्टैंडिंग का क्लॉज भूल जाती हूँ 16(2) का. ऑल्दो 16(2) स्टार्ट्स विद नॉन ऑब्स्टेंटिव क्लॉज, बट तिरुमला कोंडा की जजमेंट को ध्यान में रखते हुए उन्होंने कहा कि हम ओवरराइडिंग इफेक्ट नहीं दे रहे हैं, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. 16/4 की टाइम पीरियड वैलिड है, उसको भी इग्नोर कर दीजिए. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू नॉन ऑब्स्टेंटिव क्लॉज ऑफ 16(2). नाउ अब आप जरा पढ़िए. जब आपके पास इनवॉइस होगा, जब आपके पास टैक्स पेमेंट होगा 16(2)(c) में, तब वो आपका आईटीसी एलिजिबल होगा. सर आप आज यूआरपी का डॉक्यूमेंट रेज कर रहे हैं, आज आप उसका इनवॉइस जनरेट कर रहे हैं, आज आप उसका 16(2)(c) कंप्लाई कर रहे हैं. अब आप बताइए, आपने 2017-18 का मैं बोलती हूं आज पे किया. ऑल्दो पे करने में आउट 2 साइड्स है सर. उसकी आउटपुट टैक्स लेट पे हुआ, अब मैं इनपुट पे आती हूँ, आउटपुट टैक्स लेट पे हुआ, उसके लिए आपने इंटरेस्ट भर दिया होगा।
करेक्ट।
अब आप मेरे इनपुट पे आइए। इनपुट के लिए 16(2)(c and section 16(2)(a and b and other conditions are being fulfilled in 2023। तो अब लगाइए ना मुझ पे 16(4). मैंने 23 में उसकी सेल्फ इनवॉइसिंग की, 23 में टैक्स आज पे किया, तो अगर मैं नवंबर 23 में वो पे कर रही हूँ, 16(4) का हार्मोनियस इंटरप्रिटेशन दीजिए। और नवंबर में कर रही हूं तो मेरे लिए 30th नवंबर 2024 विल बी द टाइम पीरियड जब मेरे को वो आईटीसी तब तक अलाउ होना चाहिए। सो हम जो आरसीएम आज पे कर रहे हैं स्पेसिफिकली, वो अगर यूआरपी से रिलेटेड है, वी आर ऑलवेज कंटेस्टिंग कि मुझे वो आरसीएम अलाउड होना चाहिए। गवर्नमेंट की अपनी प्रेस रिलीज है 3 जुलाई 2019 की, क्लॉज नंबर F, where the government has stated RCM उस पीरियड का माना जाएगा, जीएसटीआर 9 में भी उस पीरियड में जाएगा जिस पीरियड में आरसीएम पे होगा। So two bases I have given you: harmonious interpretation of section 16(2) read with section 16 subsection 4, RCM जिस, और the press release also where the government has itself stated RCM, और उन्होंने लिखा है कि आपको RCM एलिजिबिलिटी भी हो। सर पे करूंगी तो RCM लूंगी ना, सेक्शन 16 की कंडीशन पूरी करूंगी तो RCM एलिजिबल होगा। मैं तो एलिजिबल ही 2023 में हुई हूं, अब लगा दीजिए मेरे पर 16(4). सो मेरे अकॉर्डिंग चाहे आप ऑडिट में पे कर रहे हैं, चाहे आप ऑन स्यूमोटो पे कर रहे हैं, इन बोथ दिस कंडीशन द आर्ग्यूमेंट सस्टेन। नाउ कमिंग टुवर्ड्स द अनदर टाइप ऑफ पर्सन जहां उसने इनवॉइस रेज किया, ऑल्दो जो आपकी प्रेस रिलीज है वो कोई डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं करती है कि यूआरपी वाला आरसीएम है कि रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन वाला आरसीएम, तो वो पॉइंट तो प्रेस रिलीज का उसमें भी लगेगा जो एडवोकेट रजिस्टर्ड है, बट उसमें सिर्फ ये है कि सेक्शन 16 की कंडीशन में मेरा जो इनवॉइस है वो पुराना हो जाएगा क्योंकि उसने मुझे वो इनवॉइस उस पीरियड में दिया होगा। सो उस केस में एक ऑब्जेक्शन रेज हो जाता है कि जहां सामने वाला पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड है, सिर्फ 16(2)(c की कंडीशन आज पूरी हो रही है, सो देयर द इनवॉइस इज ओल्डर वन, तो आज के टाइम पे इनपुट लेना बिकम्स ऑलमोस्ट ट्रिकी एंड डाइसी एज कंपेयर टू यूआरपी वाला। बट यूआरपी वाले में तो हम ले रहे हैं, बट दिक्कत पता है क्या आती है मनीष जी? डिपार्टमेंट कहता है डीआरसी के थ्रू पे करिए
जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
और आप क्रेडिट तब तक नहीं ले पाएंगे जब तक आप उसको 3B में पे नहीं करते हैं।
बिल्कुल।
So आपको you must insist the officer that I will remit, I will give you the challan, but I will do it through 3B, जो वो allow नहीं कर रहे हैं। This is the practical difficulty in availing the RCM, but you must fight and stand for the same because legal backing URP के केस में तो available है with harmonious interpretation of 16(2)(c as well as 16(4) as well as on the basis of press release.
And ma'am,
Just-
it's of URP
ऐड करो
डिपार्टमेंट
थोड़ा।
कि आपने पीएल में डेबिट कर दिया खर्चा को पहले और आप उसका 2 साल बाद सो दैट विल नॉट बी अलाउड। दैट इज
Yes sir, that is why मैंने बोला आरपी वाले केस में इट इज बिकॉज आपका इनवॉइस 12 मंथ से ओल्डर हो जाता है, सो वहां पे प्रॉब्लम करेगा, बट यूआरपी वाले केस में तो यू कैन इजीली अवेल।
And ma'am, in the case of registered persons also, if the department detects it, in that case they say कि आपका तो audit के बाद ही पकड़ा गया है, so you will have to pay the entire amount and you cannot claim the ITC. That is what they say.
नो नो सर, बट डिपार्टमेंट के पकड़े जाने के बाद मैं पे कर रही हूँ, उसमें मेरा आईटीसी डिनाई होगा ऐसा तो कहीं भी नहीं लिखा है।
73 में उसमें 15% पेनल्टी भी लगा देते हैं
No,
मतलब।
there's just one point that I would like to add over here. Like, ma'am, you very rightly said, ITC definitely cannot be denied. We just have to see that which is that document that the department has issued on the basis of which we are making payment. Is it a show cause notice? Is it a demand under section 73 or 74? 74 का डिमांड अगर इशू हुआ है, रेज हुआ है, ओवर देयर इट इज ब्लॉक्ड अंडर सेक्शन 17(5). वो 17(5) में ब्लॉक्ड
17
है।
subsection 5 will come into
Right,
picture
right,
restricting that.
Right,
हाँ,
that
but
can be the only
otherwise
situation. Otherwise,
you cannot. Yes,
right,
yeah.
right,
Otherwise it will be eligible.
right,
मैम
right.
इसी सवाल को थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ाते हैं, और अगर मान लीजिए प्रैक्टिकल सोचते हैं, ऑडिट टीम कहता है कि आपका एक्स रुपीज निकलता है, से 10 लाख रुपया का आपका आरसीएम निकलता है फॉर द पीरियड ऑफ ऑडिट, and you need to pay it through DRC03. That is what they insist upon. What should be our strategy as SEC, as advisor? हम क्या कहें उनको? हम तो ये नहीं कह सकते कि हम पे नहीं करेंगे या
आप
ऑडिट
उनको लीगल प्रोविजन ही दिखा सकते हैं that I am eligible for ITC based upon the press release and based upon the section 16(2) subsection 4 और उन दोनों में सब प्रेस रिलीज में तो बहुत क्लियर कट लिखा गया है कि RCM उसी पीरियड का लायबिलिटी बनेगा जिस पीरियड में आप पे कर रहे हो. If even if the officer does not agree, audit followed by SCN followed by the order, you can file an appeal for the same to my considered view. If the panelists have any other view, they are most welcome for the same.
मतलब मैं ये चाह रहा था कि DRC03 का इस्तेमाल ही हम नहीं करें. वो ऑडिट करके जाता
सर
है,
मनीष जी
SCM देता
वो
है.
अलाउ नहीं कर रहे हैं ना. अब आप ऑफिसर को तो आप लीगल बैकिंग और लीगल रिप्लाई ही दे सकते हैं
बिल्कुल.
और अदरवाइज यू कैन कंटेस्ट द सेम इन एन अपील. So that is what I feel. I know this is the practical difficulty which we have been facing these days. Yes sir, 31 हमने ऑलरेडी सुमित जी 31(3)(f) को रेफर किया है कि इनवॉइस जो है आरपी और यूआरपी के केस में अलग अलग होगा, राइट? Can I hope Manish ji that stands okay or
Yeah,
anything
I-
else somebody wants
Yes,
to add?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can because हम लोग already time काफी कर दिए
Yeah,
हैं.
can we wrap it up or the question seems to keep
Yeah.
on coming, ma'am? Such an interesting this discussion. ये तो चलता ही रहेगा, ma'am. What is
Right,
the
as
what
you feel like, no issues.
how is the chair comfortable? Sakshi ji, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think there's just one more question. Let us address this, and then this is the last question that we are taking up. Let us wrap after this one.
Yes, ma'am. Please take the question, ma'am. आप ही बताइए.
Ma'am, I'll just read out the question
Yeah,
for
sure.
you. Yeah, can ITC be reversed under section 72 as per the ratio of exempted turnover to total turnover when no raw material is used for such exempted turnover, that is, there is no common credit? I think,
No, if the particular raw material is particularly meant for a taxable supply, then there is no common credit. Then the reversal under Rule 42 will not arise. And you need not to reverse. Sir, always divide your ITC into 3 parts: directly related to taxable, directly related to exempt, and common one. So 42 calls for reversal only on the common credits, which are directly for exempted, not eligible, which are directly for taxable, 100% eligible, and only that will come into picture. और उसके बाद आता है 5% वाला इशू. सर 5% वाले में भी अगर आप चेक करेंगे रूल 42 में वर्ड है इफ. तो अगर आपकी पार्टी का कोई बिजनेस और नॉन बिजनेस है, ओनली देन वो 5% भी सिर्फ कॉमन क्रेडिट पे लगता है, 5% का प्रोविजन. अदरवाइज दैट ऑल्सो डज नॉट कम इन टू पिक्चर. सो आपके केस में नो रिवर्सल विल बी कॉल्ड फॉर ऑन द रॉ मटेरियल विच इज नॉट यूज्ड फॉर एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाईज.
all right.
Thank you, Achal ma'am. Sakshi ma'am, can we have your closing remarks so that we can wrap the session formally, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, we've had a wonderful session. And in fact, the best thing about it is that so many people have joined in on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon rather. And of course, Monday to Saturday, hum kaam hi karte rehte hain. Sunday bhi everybody is so energetic. And I'm noticing actually throughout the session, the participants have been constantly been so attentive, listening, asking questions. It was such an interactive session. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your time. It was really wonderful to have you here, and we've had a really very insightful session today. So yeah, that's all from my side. Back to the organizers for the
Sir,
closing.
I just want to interrupt. Time and again, I can see the message in the chat box regarding PPT. My dear friends, whatever PPTs I have shown you, made with the specimen replies, made with the otherwise, all those PPT will definitely be shared through the organizers. And thank you so much for the lovely interaction. I thoroughly enjoyed the session because of your interaction and definitely in the presence of such elite persons. Thank you so much for making me part of this series.
Thank you, ma'am. And before closing, a formal vote of thanks is required from my side to both the speaker, esteemed speaker, C. Anshal Madam, and our chairperson for the day, C.A. Sakshi Jhajaria. Thank you very much, both of you, for taking time out from your busy schedule and deliberating on such an important topic. It was a pleasure listening to you both, and we hope such sessions are also held in future so that we can hear both of you speak and discuss on this matter. Lastly, all the participants are also have been very helpful. They have been very knowledgeable, and it is my earnest pleasure to thank them for such a wonderful webinar. Thank you, Anchalji. Thank you, Sakshiji, and my co-host. Thank you, Naveen Singhal ji. Good day, everybody, and I'm logging out from the meeting. Thank you.